What?
I love Tesla.
What?
I'm getting a spice attack.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastard.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
God damn, you're an embarrassment.
Why can't you? I did this.
I literally have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
Hey, it's me. I assume Mikey will catch up, but I figured I'd get the thing going so that we're all relatively on time, right? Welcome to the Headliners on the Bin Podcast Network. I am Tim, your host, one of your hosts, the hostess with the mostest. We got a show today. I'm going to try and keep it as not depressing as humanly possible. I think we could all use a little bit of that. But there is some crazy shit out there. So, but first, we have bin merchandise that I hear tell someone got an exclusive that McKinnon is very upset about. Let me bring up the old merch. The merch. Bam. Hey, it's on sale right now. You can get yourself some bin merch. 35% off store-wide. Whatever you want. We got it. You get a Tim's hat. Fuck the hell off t-shirt. Perhaps a Get in the Van for Jesus fanny pack. A Ride the D sticker. Anything. It's all on sale right now on tpublic.com. I will post the link. And look, they give you extra discounts just for showing up to the website. It never ends. So go there. Buy things. Let's see. All right, that's our first news story, but let me say hi to the people in the chat first. There we go. All right. Wow, the chat started early. Okay. Scott in the chat.
No fucking way.
Billy.
Fettuccine, linguine, martini, bikini.
Adams.
This is sick shit.
Diz in the chat.
Fuck the hell off.
Viper Scott.
I'm talking to you.
Person impersonator.
Is he lying or is he stupid? Put in your votes now.
These are a bit more random than they normally are. Let's see. Chris C. Our intrepid reporter on the ground.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that.
The Dark Lord Greg. Wait, we got one for that. Hold on. Oh, here we go.
Democrats are revved up.
I think that's it. I think I covered everyone. Oh, McKinnon's in there too.
Because you are making the president look bad.
So, hello to everyone in the chat. Hi. If you're new here, like and subscribe, become a member of the Bin Podcast, put something in the chat, say hi. Or if you have a moral opposition to YouTube, as some do, patreon.com/the Bin Podcast. You can become a patron there and support us there. And of course, I already plugged the merch, but get your merch. Bin Podcast merch. Yeah, Chrissy, the intrepid reporter and fact checker that will drop those facts from a great height onto trolls. All right. So I don't know if the allergies, if Mikey finally succumbed to his allergies, or if he's asleep, or if he's simply late, as we sometimes are. So hopefully he'll catch up. Now, the Dark Lord Greg listening to season 3 of Dungeon Crawler Carl audio drama. I haven't listened to the audio drama yet, but I have already gotten the next book's audiobook. I have book 8 on audiobook that will happen next week. I can't wait. All right, let's get to our main story. Something that, well, the Supreme Court let happen, and now we all have to deal with the consequences of what the Supreme Court let happen.
The Supreme Court ruling against drawing congressional maps to protect Black or other minority voters has sparked a new wave in the ongoing redistricting war. Our congressional correspondent Lisa Desjardins joins me now. She's back at the super screen for a look at where things stand. So Lisa, walk us through it. How has the map changed in the last month?
I mean, this is a historic moment in terms of how we draw our political.
We Shaza going out there and voting. I got to do that this next week. The town that I live in is having a budget referendum vote. We get to vote on our budget here, so that's what I'm doing. What time is it near me? It's my time zone, it's noon. It's noon. It's quarter after noon.
Lines, it could easily become a blur. So let's start, first of all, with where this is happening.
Mikey's only an hour behind me, so I'm sure he's not sleeping. He just must be busy.
Let's go back, even a whole month ago. This is what the map looked like. You see these 4 states that were redrawing toward Republicans' favor, 2 that had maps that were moving toward Democrats' favor. You can notice these were all over the country. Then something happened 2 weeks ago. We saw action in Virginia. Voters there passed a Democratic-leaning map. And in Florida, the governor and legislature moved to put in place Republican-leaning maps. That was 2 weeks ago. Then we had last week's Supreme Court decision. Look at how this changes things. Now we have 4 more states interested in remapping. And look at that shape. It used to be this debate was spread out all over the country, but now we see a real focus on one region of the country, the South. That is the where. Now let's talk about what this means. All of this remapping is really about just changing the odds. It's not a guarantee of picking up seats, but let's talk about how those odds could play out. First of all, these are the states that have new maps in place right now. This is the maximum amount of seats Republicans can gain, the maximum for Democrats. Essentially, it's a wash, especially because many of these Republican seats are more risky. They're going to be harder for Republicans to pick up. Now, let's add in
The reason being for that is they've diluted their own districts down to smaller majorities so they could pick up seats. So if this election goes the wrong way for them and it is actually like a 15-point swing towards Democrats, those districts, those Republicans are kind of fucked.
If those 4 states in the conversation because of the Supreme Court do redistrict, what happens?
Yeah, so will I.
Look at this. Republicans increase their odds significantly. What it means is they have more of a chance of gaining on net omna because of redistricting.
You use the word if a lot. Seems like there's a lot of uncertainty still ahead, even with just months to go before those midterm elections. So what happens next?
I think I can clear this up. Think of the states in play right now in 2 ways. First, the states that are having court battles. I want to focus on 3. The state of Virginia. We're waiting on the state Supreme Court to rule on the map there. Florida. Florida has a law banning partisan gerrymandering. So no surprise, there are lawsuits there. We'll watch courts. Now, Louisiana, how about this? Early primary voting is underway. The governor has moved to suspend it for House races, but that's why we have lawsuits in place in Louisiana. We could get information on any of these as soon as this week. Now, let's talk about places you should be watching, the legislatures. First, Tennessee and Alabama, both of these states holding special sessions right now to talk about redistricting. Alabama, Notable that they also need help from the Supreme Court, needs to lift a previous injunction, but they are acting as if they will get that action from the Supreme Court. Finally, Mississippi. How about this? Their primary was in.
Man, Mississippi already had their primary and they're going to redistrict between the primary and the general. That's fucked up. For those who don't understand, so when you have a primary election, it's just, it's party election or whatever. Like, the Democrats have a primary, the Republicans have a primary, blah, blah, blah. It's more party than state. But the districts between a primary and a general election should be the same, because then you're telling voters, oh, you may not live in the same district that you lived in during the primary, so your vote doesn't matter in the general, or your vote didn't matter in the primary. They're going to redistrict people between election cycles like that. That's fucking insane. And I agree with this. Surely that's illegal.
March for those House races. Those candidates are running their races for the fall.
Right. The candidates don't even know what their districts are going to be. How are they going to fucking campaign then? That's crazy.
That there is a special session there coming up in May.
Lisa, what does ultimately all of this mean when it comes to minority representation, which the Voting Rights Act was meant to protect?
That's right. Now, this is a debate of course, but when you look at it in net, if all of this were to take place, it is highly likely that we'd see fewer Black and brown members of Congress next year. One of those members of Congress whose district is likely targeted is in Alabama. That's Terry Sewell.
It will not only suppress minority votes in the halls of Congress, but it will erode minority representation in state houses, city councils, and even school boards across this nation.
Now, one way to look at this is about the current composition of these delegations. These are the red Republican members of Congress from each state, blue Democrats. Why does that matter? Many of these blue districts are majority minority districts drawn in part because of the Voting Rights Act. Many of these are Black members of Congress. Keep your eye on the center of this screen, and you can see what happens if all of the redistricting that Republicans want goes into place. Those blue districts disappear. Now, Republicans say they think this is more fair. They want to take race out of it. And they say they would like to recruit. They're hopeful that perhaps they can get some Black and brown candidates. But if they don't, those who support the Voting Rights Act say this would be a historic shift. We would see far fewer Black and brown members of Congress. Perhaps the red and blue balance might not change, but the balance in terms of who is in Congress.
Well, great. We're going backwards in history again. Once again, the Republican Party and the conservatives and fucking MAGA want us to go backwards in terms of progress when it comes to minority representation in this country. It's insane.
Our race could.
Now you'll continue to follow this story in the weeks and months ahead. Lisa Desjardins, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, and this is a term that we had brought up in the past. I think in the last episode, actually, redistricting to limit the voting power of minorities is either done by packing a party's opposing voters into few districts or cracking those party supporters up into multiple districts. And that is, both parties do it. By the way, Democrats gerrymander too. They're doing it in California and Virginia. But the Republicans are taking it to a new level here. They have pulled out all the stops. Like we talked about in the last episode. They are trying to mitigate as much of the disaster as they possibly can politically, because they know they're going to lose 40 seats. They know they're going to lose 40 seats. So they're trying to make up seats to make up the difference so that their majority isn't so small when it comes to 2027. Chris C with some Supreme Court news. There we go. Supreme Court Chief Justice Roberts has insisted that the court is not politically aligned. Oh, I'm sure. All right. Let's get to the next story. Here's another fun one.
The United States has hit a grim financial milestone. For the first time since World War II, our national debt is now larger than our entire annual economic output. Public debt climbed to $31.27 trillion by the end of April, and that is compared to the U.S. Gross domestic product, which is $0.05 trillion less. Now, the numbers are from a nonprofit think tank based in Washington, D.C. I want to bring in CBS News business contributor Javier David. Javier, thank you for your time today. So first off, how did we get here?
Yeah, look, we have these record-shattering stock market valuations that we talk about all the time, but it obscures a very inconvenient and very important, more important development. In short, we just have a spending problem. Runaway outlays in Washington by both major parties.
Oh, man. Oh, the Republicans have a spending problem? Oh, geez. Maybe they should stop spending. Maybe they should stop spending on nonsense wars. Perhaps. Oh, man, they should not put $1 billion into Trump's fucking ballroom or whatever. The Republicans have a problem with spending? I thought that they cut the spending. Ah, geez. Oh, man.
They keep running ahead of tax revenues. There's no even the slightest pretense.
I would like to point out that that graph is insane. Look at the debt. Look at the debt incurred by President Trump. Look at how fast that's rising. That is crazy.
Of reforms that would rein in all of this deficit spending.
And I would also say that like there is a similar uptick here. What, like 2009? This is Obama. To 2015, 2016. That's Obama, and then this is Trump. All right, and then here's Biden. There's a lot of spending under Biden too, but look at the Trump one is just fucking whoosh. It's going out there, man.
And we talk a lot in these debates about discretionary and defense spending, but really most of the heat and light in the federal budget really takes place in entitlement spending. So what we're really talking about is Social Security and Medicare. And the lack of revenue means Uncle Sam's got to issue debt in order to cover all of its spending needs. And we're now at this point where the government is just paying more in interest costs. And that's even outstripping Medicare and National Security. So we have an aging society. Costs are spiraling higher. And
oh, man, you can't just cut taxes and expect nothing to happen. You can't just... I know that I'm being facetious, but the Republican strategy of cutting taxes and then not cutting spending is insane. All they're doing is increasing the rate at which we accrue debt as a country. Revenues are down in the country and spending is up. And yeah, it's Medicare and Medicaid and debt service itself. But Medicare and Medicaid are not discretionary spending, so they can't go after it as much. But yet they continue to cut taxes, full well knowing that their cutting taxes is increasing debt. That's all they're doing. They don't care. They don't care if they bankrupt the country. They don't care if, asking another $500 billion for the military budget is actually a good idea. They just want to break everything on their way out, really. Yeah, universal healthcare would be cheaper. And Mikey and I have talked about this over and over and over. If you just got rid of the over 65 part of Medicare and just made, like I think Bernie Sanders brought this up. If you just make Medicare and Medicaid universal, you don't have to do it all at once, slowly do it over time, and you raise a tax slightly, the problem is solved. People then have money, and the government and Social Security and Medicare can be self-sustaining. But when you limit those revenues, this is what happens. Yes, there is a way. It should go away. The tax on Social Security shouldn't have an income limit. That's how you make it self-sustaining. That's how you make Medicare self-sustaining. The overhead on Medicare and Medicaid is 2%. It's 2%. What's the overhead for all these insurance companies? How much are the CEOs making? It's ridiculous.
There's really no guarantee that we can continue to just simply kind of grow our way out of this, or foreigners will continue to finance the U.S. government's profligacy.
And can you help us make sense of the big picture here? Can you talk about the risks associated with rising debt?
And no one is suggesting that doctors should work for free. That's ridiculous. They would still get paid.
And where that ultimately leads us.
Yeah, look, the term that's being floated around.
In fact, doctors right now get paid the most through Medicare and Medicaid. That's what hospitals rely on. It's ridiculous to say that, oh, doctors wouldn't get paid.
Our refloated really is fiscal or sovereign debt crisis. And we've seen this usually when we're talking about it, it's in third world countries or emerging markets. But, you know, our own, we have problems here of our own.
Are you just like, hold on. Are you just like trolling in the chat? Is that what's going on here? So the comment here is Medicare and Medicaid, just like welfare disability. These people don't pay taxes and want yours to go up. If you work, you pay Medicare and Medicaid. It's part of your tax on your paycheck. It's part of income tax. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because literally you pay into the program throughout your life and then you get that money back. Theoretically, that's what happens is you pay that money, and based on how much money you pay into the system, you get money back when you retire. Yeah, seriously, read a fucking book.
And that entails borrowing costs spiking above the Treasury's ability to kind of contain the fallout from that, or even just keep the bills paid. And that means bond investors demand a higher premium to hold U.S. debt, and they just have less appetite to do so. So the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget defines it as a crisis, as like this sharp rise in interest rates on new debt that would significantly reduce the value of existing debt. In short, that just spirals further out of control.
Is there any way to make sure this does not spiral further out of control? Is there even an answer to that?
Well, the answer, of course, is, you know, we need to get our spending under control, but there's no sign of that. The Treasury has, you know, the Treasury debt has been losing a lot of what it calls its risk-free allure. People want Treasuries because they're safe and they're liquid, but there are all these risks out there, and investors just are getting much more and more skeptical about paying the bills. And now we have the Iran war, we have tariffs, inflation risks are skewed decisively higher, and it makes bond investors demand these higher yields just to incentivize holding the U.S. debt. And we're rapidly appointing this point of just kind of losing control of the narrative.
Wow, so much to keep our eye on and hope things get better down the line for our kids and our kids.
So, yes, the national debt has exceeded our gross domestic product, which, you know, depending on the economists you talk to, GDP isn't really an indicator of the country's economic strength or success. But it's the first time this has happened since World War II. And the problem is that nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Who are you talking to? Who's stealing from the American people? Are you one of those taxation is theft kind of people? How about we don't pay anything into the system and people quit leaking off the government and taxpayers stealing money from hospice, autistic children, and daycares? It's pathetic. Stop being so misinformed. Read a fucking book. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just spouting, I don't know, MAGA talking points. I don't even know if that's a MAGA talking point. Read anything. Learn how to read. Honestly.
Vice President.
All right. It's time for everyone's favorite poorly produced news program, Morning Joe. I'm sorry, Paper Shuffling with Mika and Joe.
J.D. Vance campaigned for a Republican congressional candidate in Iowa yesterday. This is what he said there about the war in Iran.
We also know that a lot of our farmers are struggling with high fertilizer prices.
It's your fault, JD. It's your fucking fault. Hey, bro, in the chat, you want to know who's wasting all your fucking money? It's this guy and the president and the cabinet. These guys are wasting your taxpayer money on nonsense wars. No, you're part of the problem.
I'm aware of that. As the President of the United States has said, we got a little blip in the Middle East. We got to take care of some business on the foreign policy side.
So, David French, we had 2 days ago the President of the United States calling this a mini war. Yesterday, you had Vice President Vance calling this a blip. I think everyone who's lost a family member in this war or who's now paying $4.50 a gallon on national
why would anyone want Vance to promote them is a good question.
Average or much more in many states would consider it much more than a blip. They're trying to sort of minimize and diminish the war and in many ways wish it away. But how do they get out of this?
Here's a little poll for the chat. Whether or not you live in America, what is the average price for petrol or gasoline or diesel or whatever you pay for? Where you don't have to give where you are, just name a country, I suppose, and give us the average price or give us the last price you paid for fuel. I think the last price I paid was $4.59 a gallon. So right about the national average. I think they said the national average is $4.56.
And they put themselves in.
You know, it's very clear at this point that it looks like Trump.
You can put it in gallon or liters, I suppose. The metric system, imperial system, all that stuff.
Was essentially sold a bill of goods that he thought, and he keeps using the Venezuela comparison. We've heard it. That he thought what he was getting was going to be a short and glorious and victorious military operation, and he hadn't thought this through.
We can convert.
So he has very few paths. If he's not willing to force the Strait open, which is something that is a tremendous military challenge that could require a large amount of escalation, a further disruption to the world economy while that escalation occurs, and honestly, an uncertain outcome.
Hey. I didn't disparage you, buddy. Except I called you an idiot because you are. You get this motherfucker out of the chat. I'm not dealing with him.
Without big time major deployments of ground troops, he can do that. He obviously doesn't want to do that. I think he worries about Congress in the event that he would try something like that. And if that's off the table, which it appears to be off the table, then he's got to negotiate with a regime that, quite frankly, seems to feel like it's got the upper hand. It is the one that seems to be the least reluctant to engage in conflict right now. So he walked into something. He thought he was going to win this short and glorious victory, and now he just doesn't have any good options. And by the way, we're also, as we've said, damaging our relationships with allies. Not just in some theoretical sense, our actions have impacted the global economy. We're hurting people around the globe, and we don't have a clear path out of it.
Yeah, David, he was warned time and again, and not by people on the inside, because you had Lindsey Graham pushing him to war, Netanyahu pushing him to war, Pete Hegseth pushing him to war. David Ignatius, everybody on this show was saying this is not Venezuela.
Dear God. So Scott Lost Missionary says, Tim, using the correct conversion table, the UK is paying $8.02 per gallon. Jeez. The average cost of petrol in the UK is between $9.50 and $10.50 per US gallon. My God. No, I can see why the farmers in Ireland fucking protested last month, and it's only gotten worse, right? And yeah, I've seen that there were other protests around Europe about the price of fuel, especially diesel, because diesel is usually more expensive than gasoline. But that is crazy. There would be honestly, there would be riots in America if we were paying $10 a gallon for gasoline. We have so much oil in our country that we're able to, I guess, sustain a lower amount. But if people were paying $10 a gallon for any kind of fuel, there would be fucking riots in the streets. Oh, and there's a 70% tax on gasoline. We have taxes, but it's not nearly as high as 70%. I know in my state, I think the overall tax is like, I want to say 40 or 50 cents a gallon. I'll double check that. But yeah, for some people, that's not, supply and demand doesn't work when you are a trucker and that's your job, or you're a farmer and you need diesel for your tractors. You can't just supply and demand that shit. It doesn't work that way. Gas on average in Washington state is $5.76. We have a higher gas tax because we tax poor people more than rich people in this state. There is also a federal gas tax. I don't know how much it is. I don't think it's a ton. I think the difference is probably about, well, let's see, federal gas tax. So the federal gas tax in America is 25 cents per gallon for diesel and 18 cents per gallon for gasoline. And let's see, what's Connecticut's gas tax? And Connecticut does 25 cents per gallon as an excise tax for gasoline, supplemented by a 9% wholesale petroleum tax. So 25 cents plus about 9%. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. All prices are not done by supply and demand. It's just not how it works anymore. Especially with all this fucking crypto shit. Sorry. That's just not how it works. It may be Econ 101, but perhaps you never took like Econ 102, right? But yeah, so in my state, so it's 25 cents from the state and then another 20 cents from the federal government. So I'm only paying about 50 to 60 cents in gas tax. Lol, I need schooling. Are you an economist? I just want to know if you're the source on this information. Are you an economist? Did you go to school for it? Because I'm not an economist, but I got like a couple of master's degrees in the background over there, so I have an appropriate amount of schooling. Don't be ridiculous. Let's put Joe back up there.
Others saying there's not, and he didn't listen. He listened to Lindsey Graham. But just think about this: that you have J.D. Vance saying 150 people in a school being slaughtered on the first day of the war is a blip. Over 100 school children.
Oh man, you're so hilarious. Oh man, it's too bad all my degrees are in science. Oh man, it's so hilarious. You are funny though. You're funny. Oh, and I happen to be a professor. So
being killed the first day of the war is a blip. Up to maybe 10,000, 15,000 Iranians being killed. J.D. Vance is calling a blip. You You have J.D. Vance calling a blip entire communities in Lebanon being wiped off the face of the earth.
I think you're deflecting, bro. Where's your economics degree? I asked you, what's your education in, and I never got anything. So if you just want to be a random idiot in the chat and not like actually provide any useful information, then I'm just going to ignore you.
How would J.D. Vance feel if his community that he grew up in didn't have a building left standing? That's what's happening in Lebanon, all across of Lebanon, because of this, quote, blip. That's what's happening in Iran because of this blip. And as you say, people across the world are
let him stay in the chat for a few minutes. I want to know what his education background is, so what makes him an authority on economics.
Are paying for this day in and day out with an economy that's getting worse. And of course, I guess only people.
Right. How could I possibly understand numbers? Oh no.
Like me worry about spending money and the national debt, but this war has already cost us $250 billion at minimum. This is far from, we've run out of munitions. We're running out of munitions. If this is what J.D. Vance calls a, quote, blip, well, then J.D. Vance is not a serious person. He's not a compassionate person. He's certainly the lack of humanity.
I don't think anyone has ever considered J.D. Vance a serious person.
That caused this much suffering, a blip, speaks volumes, David.
Yeah, and here's this thing that I think that some people might be missing right now is what we're seeing is this administration hasn't just stumbled into a war that it doesn't have a good plan to end. It's also doing something that's sort of very normal politics, engaging in all this euphemism and word games and talking points and spin that makes them look exactly like the old kind of establishment that they were despising before, for getting into foreign wars, for spinning America about foreign wars. They're doing exactly what they promised Americans they would not do. And I think that you're beginning to see this chipping away of support at a level, and at the very least, sort of a change in permission structure in the larger Republican world, where it is okay to criticize Donald Trump, at least in this sort of political class, in a way that hasn't been before. So he's acting like this kind of normal spinning politician while he's violating all of his campaign promises. Is it any wonder that approval rating is plummeting?
Yes, MS Now with their 30 seconds of nothing. All right, let's move on to... remember Kash Patel, director of the FBI? The scandals just keep on coming.
Report from The Atlantic about Donald Trump's embattled FBI director. Today, the magazine published this photo of, quote, Kash.
Bro has got his own bourbon. He's got his own director Kash Patel's bourbon. He's just fucking handing out to people. Trying to prove that he's not a drunk. Handing out bottles of bourbon. What do you even say to that? What do you even say to that? Guys, I'm not a drunk, but here, have some of my special limited edition Kash Patel bourbon. Come on.
Patel bourbon. The bottle, which The Atlantic purchased on eBay.
You can buy it on
features a
eBay?
rendering of an FBI
All right. Here's what I need the chat to do. How much is it going for on eBay? I need to know.
shield. The report says, quote, Patel has given out bottles of his personalized whiskey to FBI staff, as well as civilians he encounters in his duties. That is according to 8 people, including current and former
Yes,
FBI.
also, if we could get a review of this bourbon, like, don't buy it. Nobody buy it, right? Don't buy it. But if we could find a review of someone who's already had the bourbon, I think that would be hilarious.
and Department of Justice employees and others who are familiar with the matter. In a statement to the magazine, an FBI spokesperson did not deny Patel
Where is it? McKinnon says, I am so sick of this country being run by influencers. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Kash Patel is a fucking podcaster. He's FBI director. He's fucking branding bourbon he hands out to people. That's all he's doing, man. He's grifting. That's all these guys do. They just fucking grift. $64 is apparently the eBay listing. Man. $64 isn't even like high-end bourbon.
hands out whiskey bottles with his name on it, called this a form of gift giving that falls in line with the Bureau's, quote, ethics rules. The whiskey scoop comes from Atlantic journalist Sarah Fitzpatrick. It is a follow-up to her reporting from last month, diving into Patel's controversial tenure as FBI director. The report comes on the same day. Two sources tell MS Now the FBI launched a criminal leak investigation into Fitzpatrick's reporting on Patel.
$64, you could buy real whiskey for that.
Publicly, an FBI spokesperson denied such an investigation. Also today, the FBI raided the office of Virginia State Senator Louise Lucas this morning. She recently led Virginia's redistricting effort to counter Trump's push to rig the midterms. Details about that raid remain murky. We do know an investigation started under the Biden Justice Department, but over the course of the last 3 years, no charges have been filed. MS Now also learned Trump lackey Lindsay Halligan had been pushing to bring charges in the case. That was before a judge removed Halligan as an interim U.S. attorney, ruling her appointment was unlawful.
So all of the stories are connected.
This is where I may have a slight disagreement with some in the chat. Irish whiskey is still true whiskey, and it is quite good. And I will say that Scotch whiskey is also quite good. Both can be true.
Here. I will note that Kash Patel on April 10th, for Sarah Fitzpatrick, she wrote a story on April 17th that starts with, on April 10th, Kash Patel could not log into his FBI account, essentially. He couldn't get into the system. And instead of thinking he just had the wrong password, he thought...
There's only one way to settle this fight. That is true. I think I do have Scotch and Irish whiskey in the house. So I'll do some investigating and let you know my results. That is true. Listen. Both are good. Both are good. I get it. It's a rivalry, but as a person who enjoys his whiskey, both are good.
He was fired and started calling his allies, and people in the FBI then started calling the White House and Congress asking, who is the FBI director, if
Oh
not
my God,
Kash
yes.
Patel. So I don't know if...
So Mikey and I were talking about, I know I keep stopping the video because I have ADD, but Mikey and I were talking about maybe doing like some pre-recorded clips and then putting them up. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put together a little blind whiskey tasting and figure out which one I like more. Because I genuinely don't know. Like, I really like Irish whiskey and I really like Scotch whiskey. And I don't know which one I would like better. Right? And I got some good ones. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a little taste testing, record it, and I'll put it up for the members and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
this is boding well for his prospects, but
There was a troll in the normal stream. Oh, hold on. I gotta fix that. Who would dare? Who would dare do that? Hold on. That needs to be fixed. An egregious error has been made. They got into the normal stream? Hold on, I can fix it. How dare they? How dare they? I just got to find out which one's the normal one. It's not that one. Okay. All right. We're fixing this right now. There. If you want to be a troll in the normal stream, you got to sub. The rules have been laid out. Sub chat has been turned on for the normal stream. $2 super chat from Greg. Double blind because you and assistant are blasted. That is true. I might have my wife do it, but I might have my wife help me with the tasting because I'll try and do it blind. So where was I?
Michael, Alicia, they have been attacking our democracy from the
You call the chatters in the other stream normal, Tim. I'm just saying normal is in like it's the regular alignment, the regular aspect ratio. But the crazies are in the vertical. The fucking I know the not the mods that are in the vertical, the random people that show up in the vertical stream and yell at me saying that I don't know anything about economics or whatever the fuck their shit is. Like those people are fucking out of their minds all the time. And hey, if you don't want to be normal, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not normal. That's why we're here.
beginning. They are actively trying to dismantle it. By they, I mean the White House, the current Republican Party apparatus, and they are doing it in various ways. They're attacking the journalists and journalism. They're attacking their quote-unquote opponents, other duly elected Democratic leaders.
Okay, I'm going to stopping it in 1 second, but Billy puts up a good point here. Strange that a lot of Scottish single malt is aged in American oak bourbon casks. The same thing is true for Irish whiskey. The same exact thing is true for Irish whiskey. So all those Tennessee and Kentucky whiskey makers, right? They give all their used barrels to apparently Scotch and Irish whiskey makers to age their whiskey in. And also the same for like, I think it's sherry. I know Jameson and Teeling use sherry casks to make some of their different flavored whiskeys. I think it's Black Barrel. Jameson Black Barrel is in a sherry cask, or is it Crested? I forget which one. But they do that. And one of the big problems that Trump has created with all the tariff stuff is that they've, first of all, devastated the American whiskey industry, because Canadians aren't buying American whiskey and Europeans aren't buying American whiskey and all that stuff, whiskey and bourbon. The knock-on effect of that is that they don't have as many barrels to give to the Irish and apparently Scottish whiskey makers to use in their whiskeys. So it's caused a lot of smaller distillers to shut down production because they can't make, they don't have the capacity to make as much whiskey. It's crazy that the tariff thing and the trade war with Canada and Europe has really had like a crazy staggering effect on like the global whiskey industry.
They are trafficking and sowing misinformation and disinformation. They don't want to answer any questions. We're going to slippery slide, dive into some crazy stuff.
I hear you, Simone, but we got bourbon. So we're good. That's
if anyone can find, I will give a gold star to anyone that can find someone reviewing Kash Patel's bourbon.
Level
I'll put it up on the stream and you'll get a gold
star. Simone has laid out the indictment against not only this FBI director and the agency itself, but this administration. And yet it boils down to actions like this, where you just get your own little personal bottle of bourbon. I mean, Alicia, what What does that say about where we are here?
It says we are deep, deep into dysfunction. But that also
It says we
we've
should
known
stop.
that this was all.
Listen, we should stop hiring podcasters to be government officials. And I include myself in that. I don't want to be hired just because I'm a podcaster that, I don't know, the governor or the president likes. I want to be hired because I'm good at what I do. Like, if you just fucking pluck some podcaster out of obscurity, be like, hey, you're FBI director. That's not good. And remember, the deputy director, Dan Bongino, was also a podcaster. And he went back to it because he didn't like being deputy director of the FBI. He preferred being a podcaster because we get to make our own schedules and we don't have to work so hard. This is not like the world's hardest job, but I assume director and deputy director of the FBI are pretty hard jobs that these guys aren't capable of doing. So that's why they fucking quit and get their own personally branded bourbon that sells for $64 or whatever. Like, that's what they're doing, man. They're just trying to make a buck. They're just trying to grift. Dan Bongino was selling like grenade, or no, it was Pete Hegseth was selling grenade-shaped soap before he became Secretary of Defense. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Coming, right? They've actually told us that their plan was to go after all of the institutions that uphold our democracy. There was an actual playbook, and now we are watching them run the play. So, Simone, to your point, devastating, upsetting, but not surprising.
I went
Not
back,
surprising.
Simone, and I was trying to find in Project 2025 the section that said we need to get a personal bottle.
Now that I do believe was improvised, which, you know, like kudos, I guess, to Kash Patel for trying to put his own spin on it. But again, I think it does always goes back to Project 2025. To Alicia's point, they telegraphed to us.
Yeah.
We had, again, Kevin Roberts, he's not about Trump. This is about imbuing Trumpism.
Of journalists in leak investigations. There might be investigation of the leaker, but not the journalist. In fact, the Biden administration tried to, in part, codify this with internal regulations. Those got walked back by this administration. And so, you know, what I'm concerned about here is really twofold.
Did I skip? I wasn't paying attention for like 10 seconds, and it felt like the video skipped on me. $5 super chat from Tons of Mice. Tim's hat 2026. Buy my soap. McKinnon, maybe that'll be our next merch. Bin soap. Headliner soap. Tim soap. I don't know about that. We'll work on it.
One is that potentially the administration could call Sarah Fitzpatrick to testify, issue a subpoena for that, and then she would have to either give up her sources or potentially.
Chris C coming through. I've just looked for the reviews. His bourbon is from Kentucky Distillery called Waterford Reserve. It's only the bottles that bear his name. So it is branded bottles from Waterford Reserve. All right. So he doesn't even have the balls to make his own whiskey. He's just taking whiskey that someone else made and putting his name on it, just like fucking Donald Trump would do. He takes buildings that other people built and just slaps his name on it. That's all these people do. That's how they get their clout. Is taking away shit from other people, stealing their notoriety and making it theirs. He didn't build any of those buildings, and Kash Patel didn't make that whiskey. I'm sure that he paid out the ass for that too. So maybe you could still have some of the. I'm not going to disparage, the distillery, unless they're like, yay, Kash Patel. But oh hey, thank you, Viper Scott, for the continued support. 10 gifted bin podcast memberships. Let's see who they are. How do I get to the? Hold on. Hold, please. 1 second. Un momento. I'm not in the stream, so I have to get to it. Like, I'm in the stream, but I'm not like in the stream. I don't like hearing my own voice. There we go. All right. The following people have brand new gifted memberships thanks to Viper Scott. All right.
Democrats are revved up.
Alice McGee, Fern Lovebond, Class Time with Kai, Blue Cat, Foiled Foliage, friend of the show, Ava Falate, Audrey Johnson, James Sparker, Michael Bell, and Trusty Apeco. I hope I said all those correctly. Congratulations. You are now members of the Bin Defada.
I literally have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
Face, some sort of judicial consequence. The other is that the administration starts seeking digital data from her or other people at the Atlantic. A search warrant for their email accounts, bank accounts, and so forth as part of this investigation. I will just say one thing. This administration has absolutely collapsed.
Another little tidbit here from Chrissy. Looking at the prices on reservebar.com, a 750 milliliter bottle of Waterford Reserve Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey will set you back about $42 before taxes. If you want it engraved, it goes up to $55. So then, he's not upcharging, right? Because it's selling on eBay, unless Patel is the seller on eBay, but I doubt it. So then it's selling for an additional like $10 higher than what would be priced by the distillery. So you can get official Cash Patel merch. Great. Amazing. Oh, and great idea. He told us to stop shouting merch ideas at him, but McKinnon, if you're out there, we should like get a merch thing that's like, if we had whiskey, what would our label look like? I'm going to send it to you on Facebook too, because that sounds like a cool idea, actually.
Perhaps the credibility of the Department of Justice, the FBI in general. I think it's going to be really incumbent on magistrate judges in investigations like these to try to look past just the initial things that the department is saying.
I suppose.
In seeking these search warrants to try to understand, is this
I understand
proper
that. Oh, the video ended. Oh, man. Oh. Boy, I got a lot of fucking sarcasm in me today. I don't know why. So we did U.S. debt. Oh man, I was saving this for Mikey, but I don't know if he's showing up. So this is fucking crazy, and I've been both a passenger out of this airport and on a plane from this airport, and this is fucking wild.
Learning more tonight about this near disaster outside New York City at Newark Airport. The United passenger plane coming in for landing.
Oh, the $55 is in addition to the oh man. So, all right. So if he got customized engraved bottles, right, which he did, and the whiskey itself sells for $41, and it's another $55, so that makes it around, let's call it an even 100 with tax and all that. $100 to get an engraved bottle from that distillery, and it's only selling for $64 on eBay. That's crazy. That means that Cash Patel's name is pushing down the value of that bottle. Yeah, 96.20. Cash Patel's name is pushing down the value of that bottle by like a third. Hilarious.
Right over the Jersey Turnpike, hitting a truck and a light pole. Tonight, authorities say the plane with more than 200 passengers was just inches from disaster. Here's Gio Benitez.
This is the moment a delivery truck on I-95 is hit.
I have driven on this stretch of I-95. I have been a passenger on an airplane out of Newark Airport. This is fucking wild.
By a United Airlines passenger plane coming in for landing at New York Liberty Airport. You can see from this dash cam video the wheel from United Flight 169 with 231 people on board from Venice, Italy, destroying that bakery truck. At around 2 p.m. Sunday, gusty winds forcing that flight to land on runway 29, a shorter runway. The runway takes you right over the New Jersey Turnpike, but this final approach was dangerously close to one of the busiest.
Those planes get way too close to the highway when they're coming in for a landing. Way too close. Christy says, you can bet that Kash Patel didn't pay for the bottles. The American taxpayer probably did. You're probably right. And Kash Patel is a solo money sink. No. No. Insurance is not gonna. If you told your insurance company, oh yeah, no, our truck got hit by our bakery truck got hit by an airplane, they would be like, nah, that didn't happen. You're making it up. This is fraud. Like that's exactly what they would say. Okay, let's go back and I'm sure they'll play it again. Let's go back and watch it again.
This is the moment a delivery truck on I-95 is hit by a United Airlines passenger plane coming in for landing at New York Liberty Airport.
Holy shit.
You can see from this dash cam video the wheel from United Flight 169 with 231 people on board from Venice, Italy, destroying that bakery truck. At around 2 p.m. Sunday, gusty winds forcing that flight to land on runway 29, a shorter runway. The runway takes you right over the New Jersey Turnpike, but this final approach was dangerously close to one of the busiest highways in the country.
During strong winds out of the west, they like to use runway 29. The trade-off is that runway 29 is short, and you need to get on the ground as soon as they can.
So,
and that
Newark has a couple of short runways. It's not as big of an airport as like the neighboring JFK is. And Newark is often more of a cargo airport than passenger sometimes. But it is an international airport. Like I've flown out of Newark to Ireland. And I've flown out of Newark to let's say like Puerto Rico or something like that, right? So it's an international airport, but it's got a couple of short runways.
That's why they pass over the New Jersey Turnpike so low.
The Boeing 767 jet also striking a light pole just 13 feet from the ground. Tonight, United saying that the crew has been removed from service while they conduct a rigorous safety investigation.
This is unacceptable. We have really well-trained pilots. This is one. This should never happen in America.
Miraculously, the aircraft landed safely and there were no injuries on board. Tonight, new photos obtained by ABC News show the damage to that bakery truck. That driver was taken to the hospital where he was treated and released for minor injuries.
Oh, good. I didn't watch the end of this story. And I was also wondering, like some in the chat were, is the driver okay? But apparently he did make it. He's okay. Jeez.
Experts say that passenger plane, seen here in an image circulating online, was just inches from disaster.
The crew was having to eyeball, were they coming in at the right angle? Were they going to be at the right altitude? Clearly, we see them fighting that altitude as they come in.
That is too close, man. It's too close. And let me tell you, even when the planes aren't that close and you're driving on I-95, which is the highway there, the Jersey Turnpike, they sound like they're right above you. They sound like they're right over your head. And for the airplane to literally be right over your head, like the sound coming in from that thing is terrifying.
Treated and released for minor injuries.
Like the sound of that thing coming in has got to be like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Experts say that passenger plane, seen here in an image circulating online, was just inches from disaster.
The crew was having to eyeball, were they coming in at the right angle? Were they going to be?
Yeah, and Scott Besson's wrong. And once again, we shouldn't pick fucking news celebrities to be government officials. How is it the pilot's fault? If they were assigned the runway, that's the runway you land on. And unfortunately, the wind conditions were rough. So, and as this general is explaining,
at the right altitude. The crew was having to eyeball, were they coming in at the right angle? Were they going to be at the right altitude?
I'm sorry, not general. He was a colonel.
The crew was having to eyeball, were they coming in at the right angle? Were they going to be at the right altitude? Clearly, we see them fighting that altitude as they come in.
And David, tonight the NTSB is investigating everything from human error to the weather to aircraft performance. Again, this was just inches from disaster.
Jeez.
David,
really just incredible. And we're just glad that driver is okay. Gio, thank you.
The Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, we already saw that one. So yeah, that happened to a United Airlines flight, and to that driver. Pretty crazy stuff going on there. I really wanted Mikey to see that. Let's see if there's anything else going on in the news. Hey, if you guys got news stuff you want to post on here, usually like me and Mikey put like 50-50 into the old playlist. But he is not currently available, so. Oh, here we go. That was 5 days ago. Oh, maybe. Oh, this is interesting.
Groceries and food delivery. AI is making it. And Maryland is banning dynamic pricing on groceries and food delivery. AI is making it easier to change prices in real time based on customers' personal data. Now, Maryland is becoming the first state to ban.
Why? Why do we live in fucking peak late stage capitalism? We'll just listen to that statement one more time.
Dynamic pricing on groceries and food delivery. AI is making it easier to change prices in real time based on customers' personal data. Now, Maryland is becoming
Changing prices in real time based on customers' personal data. Micro-targeting. What the fuck? What is going on here?
becoming the first state to ban the practice. Elizabeth Schelsey has more on what could be a growing
Good.
trend.
I hope it gets banned in all 50 states. I hope it especially gets banned in the state I live in, because fuck that shit.
Hey, Diane, this is a big move to try to crack down on dynamic pricing when companies use AI to change prices in real time based on customers' personal data. So you might pay a different price than someone buying the exact same thing at the same time. Maryland just became the first state to ban dynamic pricing at grocery stores and with food delivery services. As of October 1st, any store that uses shoppers' personal information to charge higher prices
And food delivery services. Good. Because I know fucking Uber Eats and DoorDash are fucking with me constantly. Isn't it good if they charge the rich more than us? Actually, no. I think that everyone should pay the same price for things. It shouldn't be relied on your fucking private data, whatever company, whether it's a grocery store or Uber Eats or whatever, charging people more simply because they have more money. They're just trying to pad out their profit margins. But there's no benefit to anyone else for paying those higher prices. It's simply greed. It's simply price gouging. And the fact that they're using AI to do this shit and using people's data to do this shit is ridiculous.
risks facing a $10,000 fine. Last year, a small case study found that Instacart charged different prices for shoppers buying the same foods at the same time. After backlash, Instacart later said it ended those pricing experiments. There have also been concerns with Walmart's shift to digital price tags in all of its stores by the end of next year. The retailer says that
if I walk up to a fucking thing in the grocery store and the price changes as I walk up, I'm fucking leaving that grocery store and I'm not coming back. If I go into a fucking Walmart and something's $3.99 and I walk up, it goes like to like $4.99 or whatever, I'm never showing up at that store again. You have lost my business permanently. That's what's going to happen.
prices are the same no matter who is shopping. There is clearly some momentum on this. Dozens of other states have introduced legislation to try to ban dynamic pricing, including at grocery stores, or to force.
If it's the opposite and I get a discount, I'm still fucking leaving. All right? Because they're fucking spying on me. They're spying on me then. Like, isn't that an infringement on everyone's privacy to change the price of something, whether it's up or down? To walk up to, let's say I walk up to like fruit or something, like oranges or apples, and let's say the price goes down by 50 cents because I walked up to it, and then someone else walks up to it and it goes back up again. That's insane. I'm leaving that store and I'm never coming back.
Force companies to disclose if they are using this strategy. Some consumer advocates actually say Maryland's law doesn't go far enough. For example, it doesn't apply to prices associated with stores' loyalty programs. While an Association of Maryland Businesses is pushing back, they say grocery stores don't engage in individual price gouging, and dynamic pricing is more common in industries like hotels, rideshare apps, and airlines. Diane.
Elizabeth Schulze, thank you.
Use AI to change.
Oh. Did I just go away for a second? Hopefully I didn't. Liberty Twitcher says, but it could benefit peoples of color and other marginalized groups if dynamic pricing gives them a discount. But it won't. Why would dynamic pricing give them a discount? Does AI take race into account? Because it's not like the store manager is doing it, it's AI. So what would be the advantage of an AI giving a minority person a discount? And is that racial profiling then? It's not good. There's no utopian future here where AI is making price changes based on how much people can afford. And yeah, here's the and I think this is the true statement. It could keep that customer from switching to a competitor. That is exactly what they want. That is exactly what they want. But they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're not doing it to give people a break. And in fact, they're probably doing it to jack up prices. There is, and yeah, there is no advantage. It's all data collection. It's just using your fucking internet history to figure out what you'll pay for something. That's all they want. Is they want to figure out what the most is that you will pay for something. They try to do it at fast food places too, and they do it at Uber, and they do it at fucking DoorDash and Grubhub. What's the most this customer is going to pay for this? It's ridiculous. Viper Scott, 5 British pounds in the old super chats. Thanks, Viper Scott. Use Clara, get a loan for food delivery. Forget to pay, tank your credit score, and they can do this because they're not a bank. Have you heard of that? And I have heard of using Clara to get a loan to do food delivery or grocery shopping. It's fucking crazy. And it's predatory. Those are predatory lenders, and they should be regulated into oblivion. Does the price of your airline ticket drop if the plane hits a bakery truck? Maybe, who knows? You don't know. Maybe if the plane has a history of hitting bakery trucks, you might get a cheaper ticket. Because nobody else wants to fucking buy a ticket to that plane.
We call it the Great Healthcare.
All right. We got some more. Hey, this one, we haven't talked about Trump really yet. Well, we're gonna. Back to paper shuffling with Mika and Joe.
We will pass the Great Healthcare Plan. We call it the Great Healthcare Plan to stop all payments to big insurance companies and give the money. What we want to do is this. We want the insurance companies to be cut out. We want our government not to pay trillions of dollars to insurance companies, to pay that same amount of money directly to the people, directly, and you go out and buy your own health care.
Ooh, bad idea by the president. Also, not an idea by the president. This has not been implemented in any way.
And everybody likes it.
President Trump last month talking about his administration's health care plan unveiled in January, but there remained no concrete bill containing President Trump's proposals for Congress to even attempt to pass. There's a plan, more like a concept of a plan, to quote the president. Millions, meanwhile, reportedly have dropped their health care coverage after Congress failed to extend the COVID-era subsidies of the Affordable Care Act. Former Treasury official, Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner joins us now with charts on how all of that is going. Steve, good morning. Always great to see you. Let's start with the premiums, what people are paying now as a result of
going back to, I missed a bunch of chats on the previous subject, but Chrissy says that Facebook, Instagram, and others claims that charges should not be calculated based on a company's global revenue. Some idiot in the chat. I'm not even going to say what they said because it's dumb and they're not here anymore. I think that different prices with club cards are bad enough as shopping is getting your data already. That is true. The grocery store that I shop at, whenever I use the loyalty card or whatever, because it's integrated with an app now, is like, oh, do you want to buy all these things again? By the way, we have all these things available. And like, yeah, I get it. You want it to be more convenient for me to shop at your grocery store. But also, I don't want you to remember exactly everything that I do and then suggest things back to me, because I don't like that, because I don't buy the same things all the time. But I guess that part of it is probably useful for people, I guess. But the changing the prices based on who's buying the food is discriminatory, whether it's higher or lower. Because if it's lower for someone and it's higher for someone else, that's not, there's no real equality in that. And like the loyalty card thing, yeah, it's bad enough, but at least you just have to get the loyalty card, I suppose. I think that's, yeah, the buy now, pay later for the food system is totally fucked. Like, it shouldn't be, and it's just a sign that we're in not great economic times. If the price of things is so high for groceries or food delivery or whatever it is, that you have to take out a fucking loan to do it. Isn't that the problem? That we're paying too much for this stuff? Like these companies are continually trying to figure out how to get more and more money out of us. And it's ridiculous. Let's see. Just catch up on the chat. Okay, I think I'm caught up now. Here we go. Remember that thing about Target accidentally outing a teenager as pregnant because of what was in the circular ad? Yeah. Like these companies, and this happened to me and my wife a while ago. You know, when we were getting married, all of a sudden everything was a fucking marriage advertisement, and like we never told anyone. And then, you know, we started seeing like, and you talk to your phone, and your phone tells you ads based on what was the last thing you fucking said to it, like, or Alexa or Google or whatever, based on the last fucking thing you said. There is actually a great book about this, and one that I recommend. It's called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, and it's all about all this stuff and how it's bad, and how we're just being surveilled by companies and the government, and they're all working together to just use our data to their own means. A good example is Ring, the doorbell company now owned by Amazon. Well, it's integrated into Amazon's AWS now. So when you have one of those doorbells, how do you know it's not constantly listening to you? How do you know that it's not constantly recording everything you do? If you have a Ring security system, how do you know that? And then, you know, weird shit will happen on your Amazon. It'll start suggesting weird shit based on stuff that you said to no one. Well, you missed the first part of the stream where we talked about that. That was 30-ish minutes ago. But, you know, it's a catchy title.
the action of the administration.
We can talk about it more if you want.
So as you said, just to recall, last fall, the Democrats had shut down the government for the longest period in history to try to preserve these tax credits. They ultimately failed, and now we're going to see the consequences of all that. So premium numbers have come in, and the average premium for someone, these are for people who buy their insurance in the marketplaces that Obamacare set up, of 58% for the average premium. That's not even shared equally. Different age groups, different income levels will have different impacts. But let's just look at a typical family. $65,000 is the average.
Oh, and this is because, I made that small. Here we go. So shifting over to the insurance conversation, the reason why these premiums are up is because the subsidy has been cut. So we're paying 58% more in our premiums because the federal government has decided to cut the subsidy to these insurance markets.
Income of an American worker today. If you're 60 years old, your premium is going to go up by $920 a month. That's $11,040 a year. If you're making $65,000, paying $11,040 a year for health insurance is simply not realistic.
So, Steve, just to remind people, this was kind of the basis of that government shutdown at the end of last year, a fight that Senate Democrats ultimately lost, but it was to expand these tax credits that would have covered a lot of this. So as you move to your second chart, you've got information kind of about this middle class cliff that a lot of people predicted would come if those tax credits were not extended.
Yeah, exactly. These were tax credits passed during the Biden administration in a COVID environment, and they were set to expire. But they were designed to solve a specific problem. When Obamacare was created, inadvertently or not, there was this cliff where you paid a reasonable percentage of your income in healthcare costs, but then suddenly it went away and you were paying as much as 25% of your income in costs. This Biden era provision was designed to eliminate that and essentially provide a smooth transition here from the subsidies so that nobody paid more than 8.5% of their income in healthcare premiums. So we went from this to up here. So what's the consequence? Well, obviously, as I showed you with the numbers before, healthcare becomes unaffordable for a lot of people, and they start dropping their coverage. And so the estimates at the moment that have recently come in is that this year, somewhere between 17 and 26% of the people who bought their healthcare in the Obama exchanges will drop it. But the people who drop it are also the healthier people, right? I mean, that's logical. And so what happens is that the remaining people in the insurance pools become sicker, have a higher morbidity rate. And that's what this number here is. And when you have a sicker pool of people, that drives the insurance premiums of people.
Yeah, it does go up anyway because there's a profit motive. However, it's going up by way more than it should.
Even more because the insurers are trying to recover the costs of insuring a smaller group of Americans who are not quite as healthy.
And those who drop the coverage still get sick, so they end up in emergency rooms, which are also paid for by the taxpayers as well, which gets to your final chart, number 3, millions more people are now uninsured. What are the numbers here, specifically around Medicaid?
Right. So Medicaid is separate from what I was talking about, but back in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Republicans carved back all kinds of Medicaid eligibility definitions. And so the consequence, when you put the two things together, this is the impact of these tax credits that I was just talking about. But when you add the One Big Beautiful Bill impact on it, you can see that the number of people who are insured, which peaked back up here at about almost 50 million people in the exchanges, thanks to Obamacare, went down, 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 all the way down here because of those exchanges that Obamacare set up. Now it's going to jump back up here, up to 37 million uninsured Americans. That means that we have essentially, or we will essentially eliminate half of the people who got insurance through Obamacare will be giving it up. So half of Obamacare, the Republicans have very quietly eviscerated without ever saying the words Obamacare, because that didn't go so well for them in the past. Now, we have some actual data. These are projections, but we have a test case. Georgia has actually already reported its numbers. And you can see here again, the effect of those tax credits was to increase the number of people who got insurance through the marketplaces all the way up to 1,500,000. Now it is down to 950,000. So you've something like 560,000 Georgians have dropped their insurance. And let me just make one other point about Georgia. Georgia's a really important state for the Democrats because John Ossoff, the young Democratic senator, is the only Democratic incumbent running in a state that Trump carried. So Georgia, which in the past was a red state, got a little bit purplish. Now, hopefully, this will help John Ossoff in a tough race in Georgia.
All right, Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner, thank you so much. Hopefully, this information will help anybody in any party fight for health care for Americans and to turn this back the way it was before the one huge, massive, terrible bill. Steve Ratner, thank you so much. So Mika, we're talking right now about Obamacare. You've got that on one side of the equation, but on the other, private health care. Private health care has gotten so outrageously expensive, and we've talked about it time and time again. Yeah, people pay higher premiums than ever before. They're just getting absolutely crushed. And then the very things, the procedures, the tests that the doctors order, that they prescribe, the health insurance companies deny that. Then they get home. There are more hidden costs. You go down the list. Healthcare is unaffordable. Again, it's not just about Obamacare. It's about the private healthcare industry. And then it sounds like what we conservatives used to say about healthcare in Britain or Canada. You want to get a procedure? Great. Well, you have to wait 6 months or 9 months. And when you say, oh, the American system is so superior to that, that's now what's happening with so many private healthcare companies. Oh, you want to use your doctor? Okay, well, we've got to figure it out. Okay, we'll approve that for 6 months from now. And then 4 months after that, they, of course, deny it and then just keep you running around and in circles. So health care insurance is a serious crisis, and it's been made so much more serious for working Americans by what the Republicans have done and what they continue to do.
And that's the question, because it's not just health care and the cost of it and the outrageous nature of the cost of it, but also access to it. There are healthcare deserts around the country. There are rural hospitals that have been shut down. There are hospitals that have shut down their maternity wards. So it's paying for it and getting to it that people are struggling with across the country. And Katty K, it all goes down to that word, affordability, which the president was mocking just a few days ago, again, as if it's not happening. And the American people can tell you it's happening on every level, whether it's the grocery store, whether it's healthcare, whether it's gas prices because of the war in Iran, which again...
Chrissy says, fuck you, Joe Scarborough. Our NHS might not be perfect, but it's always there no matter what. And I think the problem here is that, well, Joe, I mean, he used to be a member of the Republican Party. I think he's unaffiliated now, but he's certainly not a Democrat. And he never believed in any sort of socialized medicine. So, it's a little, it's a little fucky because, yeah, we're paying a crazy amount for health insurance now. I know that I'm paying a crazy amount. I'm on the state healthcare fucking market, and I pay a crazy amount because none of my jobs offer reasonable health insurance. So I gotta pay, I'm trying to do the math here, $10,000+ a year for health insurance. That's not good. It's just not good health insurance. And neither one of my jobs offers an affordable alternative. So what am I to do? I think I pay more for health insurance than I do in like fucking car payments or whatever. But it's ridiculous. So, Joe Scarborough is an imperfect messenger for this kind of stuff. But when you look at the details of what our health insurance market is like all around the country, it's crazy. And there's just no reason for health insurance to be this high. And then to deny people their coverage on certain things when they ask for it, and you're paying these premiums and you have ridiculous deductibles. Yeah, right. The extra tax that they pay in over in the UK to pay for NHS is way lower than that per person. Right. I between the actual health insurance and the co-pays and the deductibles and all that, I'm probably paying, let's see, if we're talking about health insurance and then like dental and vision and all that, I'm probably paying over $700 a month. Probably close to $800 a month. And then I still have to pay co-pays. I still have a deductible in case, like, if stuff happens to me or I go out and buy medicine, I still have to pay the fucking deductibles or co-pays or whatever. So it's not doing anything for me except for making sure that if I do get hit by a truck or something, that it's not going to bankrupt me. But it'll come close. So that's the deal there. Let's see. Mikey put some stuff in the old. I know that I'm just like speed running through all this stuff. Mikey put something in the old playlist here. Let's see what Mikey put in.
A driver crashed through the front of the Multnomah Athletic Club in Portland, the car filled with bombs. Thanks for joining us tonight for Coin 6 News at 11. I'm Lisa Balick. We have that breaking news. Portland police
And I totally agree that health insurance should be a basic human right and not something people profit off of. Is insurance the optimal solution for healthcare? Is there another angle to handling this problem that could be more effective? Yeah, there is. It's called socialized medicine. It's called the single payer option. That's the solution that seems to work. It's not perfect, but I have much fewer expenses if I just paid my health insurance tax, right? Even if the tax was what 10%, it would be less than I'm paying right now. The amount that I'm paying right now is insane. Right. If it was 5,000, let's see, 5,000 euro or 5,000 pounds is probably like $5,500 or whatever. Boy, that's about half what I'm paying. Here is a short from a channel. I find the details of the crisis U.S. healthcare system. Oh, okay. Ask and you shall receive. Here we go. Here we go. Switch to this. Make it bigger. Bam. Oh, you can't.
Bury their 7-year-old.
Yeah, hey Kyle.
Your denial caused a mom and dad to have to bury their 7-year-old to delay care and save costs. I'm calling on behalf of the patient's family with a question about your plan's benefit. I'm hoping that maybe you can help me with it. I'm looking for something specific. Looking through the summary of benefits rather, and I can't seem to locate your burial benefit or any end-of-life assistance that your plan provides to families. I understand it's not a standard benefit. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. The family has a lot of expenses going on right now. The expenses are related to planning the funeral for a 7-year-old. So he had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Oncologists identified the bone marrow match 8 months ago. Your plan denied the transplant, stating that it was not medically necessary and it was experimental.
That's fucking crazy.
That's exactly.
And I've been denied for stuff that my insurance company was like, oh, you don't need that. But it was stuff that my doctor was like, oh, you definitely like need that. Like, you need this medicine. And my insurance company was like, we're not paying for that. Then why the fuck do I have insurance? If my doctor said I need it and another doctor said I needed it, and you're like, nah, we're not covering that. You're on your own there, bud. Then why am I paying you so much money? What the fuck is the point? And I think that's why people are going off their health insurance, is because it's too expensive and they don't cover everything like they're supposed to. And you got in-network doctors and out-of-network doctors and in-network medicines and out-of-network medicines. And is it generic or is it name brand? Fucking just cover everything. Why can't we just do that? What insurance seems to accomplish is shuffling around risk, but it comes at the cost of overhead and added bureaucracy. Yeah. And the American health insurance industry and the American health care industry are so complicated and so bogged down in bureaucratic red tape that nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Like I just said, my doctor was like, you need this medicine. And then a second doctor also said, you need this medicine, a specialist or whatever. I go to the health insurance company and I say, please, and I have a doctor send a note saying, please, can my patient have this medicine? And the insurance company was like, nah, ain't gonna happen. You're gonna have to pay for it yourself, bro. Great. Amazing. Great job we're doing here, guys. God, I wish that we had some sort of, health insurance system where everyone just got the care they needed in a reasonable time with a cost that's not an arm and a leg. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, I don't know what this video is, so we're gonna watch it. But feel free to carry on the health insurance discussion.
A driver crashed through the front of the Multnomah Athletic Club in Portland. The car filled with bombs. Thanks for joining us tonight for Coin 6 News.
I definitely missed that the first time.
At 11, I'm Lisa Balick. We have that breaking news. Portland police and FBI agents at the Multnomah Athletic Club throughout the day and into the night, defusing those bombs after that driver crashed into the building.
There were multiple handmade bombs inside that vehicle. It drove right through the entrance of this building. Here, all that's left now is this giant hole through the glass.
I've been a bomb technician here in the city for over 13 years. This is by far the most complex scene that I've ever dealt with.
A car filled with propane tanks, homemade bombs, plowed through the front of the Multnomah Athletic Club in the middle of the night.
Jesus.
Employees called 911, saying the vehicle was engulfed in flames. Portland firefighters quickly put the fire out. The driver dead inside.
Even though we're not identifying this person because we're waiting for the ME, we have a great deal of confidence that we're on the right track in terms of where we're going in pursuit of this.
Police and the FBI spent hours examining the SUV and its contents. Throughout the day, they sent in robots to find and safely detonate the many explosive.
I don't know where Mikey finds these videos, but damn, I didn't hear that this even happened.
Finding more and more.
It looked like there was an intent to detonate more than actually.
No, I get it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens in insurance, though. That's the kind of stuff that happens when, people have to decide based on spreadsheets what's going to happen.
Ultimately was detonated. There was also a number of devices that were left in different states. We call it a low order explosion, where maybe they had started to go off, but they weren't completely consumed. And so we needed to work on those. There's a couple inches of water on the floor in there. It is a very, very difficult place to be working.
Around 9 p.m., we saw Portland police remove the vehicle from inside the building. The Mac Club so damaged, they are expecting to be closed for quite some time.
We're 135 years part of this Portland community and as a key pillar, and we've gotten through some tough times, and we'll get through this as well.
I spoke with a man who says he was a friend of the driver. He tells me that driver used to be an employee here at the Mac Club, reporting in Southwest Portland.
Man, I don't know what would drive a person to do that sort of thing. That's fucking crazy.
Portland, Ariel Salk, Coin 6 News.
And in our continuing coverage of this story, our crew headed to a home in North Portland tonight where they found an armored police vehicle out front. The surrounding streets blocked off. Our crew observed several Portland police.
That is, that's a rough one.
Police officers collecting what appeared to be evidence from inside the home. Neighbors confirmed to our crew the person who lived there was a former Multnomah Athletic Club employee. So far, police, though, have not released the name of the person they say who crashed.
Yeah, it was a former employee, but like, you know, you need motive and all that stuff. So hopefully that gets washed out in like the investigation, because that is some crazy stuff. What's the second video Mikey got?
What a hero he is, and we need more people like him to step up and come forward.
Ross River police praising a teenager from more than 800 miles away for his actions after reporting an alleged threat at Bell Vernon High School.
That teenager's call to police led to the arrest of a 50.
Oh, Chris C. It's because it's America, man. Our police need MRAPs. And tanks. They need those things. They need them. They need them because it is a fucking war zone to them. That's what they think. That's what they think. We'll go back because why did police have this fucking thing? Who knows?
A driver
Part of this Portland community.
who headed to a home in North Portland tonight where they found an armored police vehicle out front.
Look at that fucking thing. That wasn't built for police. That is military surplus. You got any other pictures of it? Nope. Damn it.
What a hero he is, and
Dang
we
it.
need more people.
A driver crashed through the front of the
Yeah, we
Multnomah
know.
Athletic Club.
We heard it
Our
already.
crew headed to a home streets blocked.
Oh, I guess that's there we go. There's another shot of it. Like, come on. That's Portland police. Do you need a fucking MRAP? Myths World says it's because the ATF is allowed to have it, and now it's unfair to the other branches. No, it's because the military is like, oh man, we got a bunch of these lying around. Do you want one? And they just all the money that has gone into the police departments since 9/11. This is the outcome here, is that the police have tanks and armored personnel carriers that are just given to them by the government. This is the result. This is not like policing. Do these guys look like police to you? Or do they look like military? Do they look like soldiers? Right. Who are they fighting over there? It is crazy that, like, I mean, our UK audience and our European audience, they see these kind of things that are like, why do they have those fucking things? Why? And we just have to say it's normal policing in America. It's normal. My town has a fucking helicopter. Why they need a helicopter is beyond me. This is like a town in Connecticut. There's no need for a helicopter. I don't live in a major metropolitan area, you know, but they have one. I seen it in the air. The mayor and the police chief talk about it. They're like, oh, we got a helicopter. You know how much money it takes to maintain a helicopter? It's ridiculous.
What a hero he is, and we need more people like him to step up and come forward.
Ross River police praising a teenager from more than 800 miles
'Cause it's
away
cool to
for
have
his
helicopters.
actions after reporting an alleged threat at Bell Vernon High School.
That teenager's call to police led to the arrest of a 15-year-old Bell Vernon student. Erica Stanish spoke exclusively with the investigating officer.
Police say this was a 15-year-old girl playing video games and chatting online when she began detailing her plan to a teen in Minnesota to allegedly carry out a shooting at her high school. Police say that's when the teen...
That is okay. I'm going to preface this by saying that is gruesome. And why would you tell people your crimes on the internet?
began gathering as much information as he could, including where that student was from, before calling here, ultimately leading to her arrest. This week, a 15-year-old girl was arrested and charged after police say she made several threats online to carry out a school shooting at Bell Vernon Area High School. Police were notified last week by a teenager in Minnesota after his reported conversation with the student online.
He was concerned because he was playing video games. He was on the platform called Discord. A lot of our kids here in the area use that when they're playing
Discord, a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
video games. It's sort of like a chat network. She had made several threatening comments that he took very seriously.
Ross Draver Township Police say that teen did his due diligence, looking up the school district and its location before contacting their department.
She had indicated that she wanted to shoot up our school, Columbine style.
Officers say they went to the student's home, and after conducting a search warrant, they found concerning items and gear she had purchased, including a replica 9mm handgun.
She had mental health issues, so I'm not sure what she was planning on doing with that, but we take that threat very seriously. Real or fake gun, I'm not going to ask her questions about it. I'm just going to do my job, keep our children safe.
Police say they believe the student intended to carry out her plan on May 1st and had allegedly been looking to recruit others to help her.
After we had received all of her phone records and I had combed through it, I had found so many more remarks that she was making. She was referencing several other school shooters, and she was kind of idolizing them. It was a real danger.
Police say the swift actions by that teen in Minnesota stopped the alleged attack.
Because without him, I don't know what might have happened.
Police say the student was taken to a mental health facility before she was booked at a juvenile detention center where she now faces several charges. Police say they will have extra patrols at the district tomorrow. Reporting in Ross Draver Township, Westmoreland County, Erica Stanish, KDKA TV News.
All right. I'm gonna play one more video. We're kind of gonna end where we began. We're gonna talk about the Republican redistricting effort and with the Supreme Court decision and all that. So I have a different video for that, and we're gonna talk about it. But before we do that, everyone watching right now, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Help our numbers and get the algorithm out there and do all that crazy stuff. Become a member if you want, or if you stick around long enough as a subscriber, chances are that Viper Scott will gift you a membership at some point, and you'll get all the cool membership stuff. And maybe you'll want to stick around and renew that membership every once in a while. But if you have a moral opposition to YouTube, covering me up. If you have a moral opposition to YouTube, patreon.com/thebinpodcast is where you can go to support us. But you don't have to give us money. We're not out here to get your money, and we're not going to do dynamic pricing. But if you want to help us out the most, just like and share and subscribe. That's all you got to do, and you'll get our content all the time. Ollie put up a that's the bin T Public. Here, I'll put that up again too. Share the merch. Bam. T Public always offering more percentages off. Hey, we got a merch store where you can buy bin merch. It's on sale right now. You can get a Tim's hat like my hat. I got a Tim's hat. Hold on. There you go. Tim's hat. Or you can get a Loose Thumbs Sink Ships shirt with our Secretary of Defense there. Or a Fuck the Hell Off t-shirt, our best-selling item. Or hell, get Fuck the Hell Off socks. Fuck the Hell Off fanny pack. You can get it all. All of these designs are offered in a variety of colors and items. So go to TeePublic, and Ollie put the link in there. So you click that link. All right. Where was I? Here I was. All right. Oh, we got a good mix of that. Don't worry. Today is a little bit of an off day because Mikey's not here. Usually I have a co-host and we have more in-depth conversations, but it's because we get to play off each other, and by myself it's only me in the chat and the videos. So, but feel free to ask questions. I am not opposed to asking questions. I can offer commentary on various things. Anyway, so we're going to go back into the discussion about the Republican gerrymandering in the South.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
We end today's show with a look at voting rights right here in the United States. The Supreme Court's gutting of the Voting Rights Act has led to a scramble by southern states to gerrymander congressional districts before the November midterms. Last week's Supreme Court ruling makes it harder for minorities to challenge electoral maps as racially discriminatory under the Voting Rights Act. On Monday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new gerrymandered congressional district map into law, posting on the social media platform X, quote, signed, sealed, and delivered.
On X.
And on Wednesday, the Alabama House voted to approve a plan that would change the congressional district map during an active election, even though some votes in the May 19th primary have already been cast.
Oh man, I forgot about the civic show. Yeah, we got to do that. Okay, Allie, I will do that. So £5 from Viper Scott. Question, what good on civics to learn from asking my kid as he's learning it at school? What would you recommend, Tim? What's a good way to learn American civics? Trying to think. There are a couple of good books out there. I'm going to play this video for a minute, and I'm going to go into my digital bookshelf, and I'll come up with some recommendations. And then we'll do the Civics Corner. All right? Yes.
But in states across the South, civil rights activists are also pushing back. In Tennessee, hundreds of protesters marched to the state capitol in Nashville Wednesday as lawmakers unveiled a gerrymandered congressional map that could see Republicans take control of all 9 of Tennessee's U.S. House seats. The General Assembly is expected to vote on the new map as soon as today. For more, we're joined in New York by Ari Berman, national voting rights correspondent. Mother Jones, his latest book, Minority Rule, the right-wing attack on the will of the people and the fight to resist it. Can you talk about all of these developments? Start in Nashville, where we're just listening to these hundreds of protesters.
Good morning, Amy. So in the wake of the Supreme Court's effective destruction of the Voting Rights Act, we are seeing southern states all across the South redraw their voting maps. This could lead to the largest drop in Black representation since the Jim Crow era, and it is happening with alarming speed, beginning today in Tennessee, where they are set to pass a 9-0 map that splits the city of Memphis, which is 63% Black, into 3 different congressional districts to dilute Black voting power. Memphis has had its own congressional district since 1923, and it's now going to be split apart in 3 different districts. Nashville is going to be split into 5 different districts, and this is very symbolic. This was the place where Martin Luther King was assassinated. This is where he led the Poor People's Campaign, and it's indicative of what's happening across the country, which is the ink is barely dry on the destruction of the Voting Rights Act. And all across the South, from Tennessee to Alabama to Louisiana to Mississippi, they are drawing districts to specifically eliminate seats where voters of color can elect their candidates of choice. So this is a really fire for American democracy.
And Ari, if you could also talk about what's happening specifically in Mississippi, which has the highest Black population.
Oh, I did miss the Jim Crow button. Well, I haven't been using the buttons today. See, this is what happens when there's only one of us.
Jim Crow! Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards.
Of any state.
Yeah, they're going to hold a special legislative session very soon that could eliminate the state's lone Black member of Congress. That means you could have a state that is 40% Black, the largest Black population in America, that has no Black representative. This is a state that before the Voting Rights Act, only 6% of Black Americans were registered to vote. So the Voting Rights Act transformed Mississippi just like it transformed the South. This is a place where Medgar Evers was murdered fighting for voting rights, where Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner were murdered fighting for voting rights. There is a very long and ugly history of violence, discrimination, and racism in Mississippi and across the South. And the fear is that Jim Crow is now coming back in a different form. We're returning to the days of literacy tests and poll taxes, not through those devices, but through specifically trying to eliminate Black office holders. And Southern legislators are very clear. They are going to do this. They feel unshackled by the Supreme Court ruling. They are being pressured by President Trump to do it. And they feel like all the guardrails are off right now.
And why is it happening, especially in the South? And what impact do you fear this might have on the midterms?
It's happening in the South because that's where the largest concentration of majority Black districts are. That's where the largest population of Black Americans are. And it's also where voting is the most racially polarized, right? That Black people in the South tend to vote for Democrats. So if you want to get rid of Democratic districts in the South, you target Black voters. And they unfortunately are now collateral damage in Trump's gerrymandering arms race. What this could mean is that Republicans may be able to pick up 4 to 6 extra seats for the midterms just based on targeting these majority Black districts in the South. That may not make it impossible for Democrats to take back the South, but it's going to make it more difficult.
So that's another video, or well, I mean, we'll continue watching in a minute, but I wanted to break it up a little bit. And I have Storygraph tons. Vic Stryker, at Vic Stryker on Storygraph. That's exactly what I was going through. So let's go through the chat here a little bit. So once again, this is the main topic of the day, right? The Supreme Court said that you cannot gerrymander always based on race or whatever the fuck they said. They basically said that a Black majority district in Louisiana was unconstitutional because it was gerrymandered based on race. And it struck down part of the Voting Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. And so Louisiana immediately went into redistrict mode. I was like, okay, we're going to get rid of, we're going to dilute these minorities and try and squeak out a few more Republican seats. And then all these other southern states, Alabama, Mississippi, whatever, Florida, are going to do the same thing. And they're going to dilute all of these majority Black districts or majority minority districts into nothingness. And it's a gerrymandering practice called cracking. And we've talked about it a few times. There are two main practices when it comes to gerrymandering. And not to say that Republicans exclusively do this, but they've been doing it a lot. And the Democrats also gerrymander. Everybody gerrymanders. But now they have carte blanche to kind of do whatever they want when it comes to gerrymandering. Before the Supreme Court ruling, they had to at least have a few districts that represented minorities, or a few districts that represented opposite parties and stuff like that. Like, it made it a little bit more level, even though it is completely not level at all. But now they can just kind of do whatever they want. The Voting Rights Act has been gutted. And all these states are taking the opportunity to basically redraw the districts in their states. One state, I forget which one, we were talking about it earlier, is going to redraw their districts between the primary and the general election, because their primary already happened. And now they're going to have a general election where the candidates and voters may not know what their district is, which is fucking crazy. And Louisiana paused their primaries, which I believe were actively, like, they were like a day or two away from going on, pause their primaries so they can redistrict. So they're holding up their own electoral process to redistrict. And this is like clearly an attempt by the Republican Party to once again mitigate the disaster that has been Trump's first year and a half in office or whatever, so that they aren't going to feel the effects as badly in November, because they are going to get destroyed in November. Like, they only have like a 2 or 3 seat majority in the House anyway. That majority is gone. It's a foregone conclusion at this point that majority is completely gone when it comes to November. They are trying to mitigate how many seats they're going to lose. And one way of doing that is redrawing the districts. The problem that they're going to run into is that these districts, their majorities in these districts are going to be diluted, obviously, because they're putting into these districts populations that aren't going to vote Republican. All right. They're putting Democratic voters into Republican districts to sort of dilute out the Democrats, but also make it so that they can have more Republican districts. The problem they're going to run into is, what is the swing towards Democrats that's going to happen in November? Is it 10 points? Is it 15 points? Because the higher the swing, the more likely that these diluted districts are going to go Democrat anyway. So they're playing a bit of a game of chicken with the voting population here, saying we're going to dilute these districts so that we have theoretically another Republican district. But if the district is maybe only Republican by less than 10%, where it usually would have been maybe 15%, that Republican candidate or that sitting congressman is going to have a big problem when it comes to November's reelection. So the problem they're going to run into is an electoral one. They don't know how unaffiliated voters are going to vote. But the trend has been for Democrats to rack up these 15, 20-point margins where they wouldn't normally, in districts that they wouldn't normally win in. And especially in Florida. That Florida state election where a Democrat won Mar-a-Lago's district by 15, 17 points is a prime example of what the Republicans are trying to mitigate by doing this. But they don't know. They're kind of flailing at this point. They don't know how to stem the bleeding here when it comes to who people are going to vote for, because the president's not doing them any favors. The president is going to continue to do whatever he wants, and regardless of what the Republican Party should be doing. And it's going to continue to hurt the Republican Party. And of course, the leadership in the House and the Senate, Republican-wise, is going to go along with whatever the president says. And they're not going to do their subordinates or their constituents any favors. So if I don't know if the person's still here, but if you wanted an in-depth discussion on electoral politics, there you go. It happened. They said if we're assuming 2024 voting, the current redistricting could lead to a 20-point swing for Republicans. 2024 is 2 years ago at this point. We're not assuming that at all. We're assuming special elections and primaries, right? We're talking about current voter data. Are they gone? Did they leave? Have you guys performed calculations on specific maps? I have not. But, looking at current voting data from special elections and state elections, Democrats are ahead by a lot in some of these districts. And by the way, these are districts where Trump won. These are districts where Trump won in 2024. But there has been a big swing of about 15 to 17 to, in some cases, 20 points for voters voting against Republicans. And it doesn't always break the Democrats' way, right? Sometimes it's a Trump district where, the Trump has, or Republicans have a 30-point lead on a Democrat, and they only come back by 15, 20 points. That's still a 10%, it's still a 10-point Republican victory. But in all of the cases, regardless of whether or not the Democrat wins, the public opinion and the voters' opinion has shifted away from whatever the coalition that they had in 2024 was. That coalition is gone, especially when it comes to minority voters and Latino voters and immigrant voters, not undocumented immigrants, obviously citizens who are allowed to vote, but those voters have been turned off by Trump's immigration policies. That's not true, actually. Usually Republicans rely on low turnout to win elections. And that's broadly speaking. Like, Republicans always rely on low turnout to win elections. That's why they're doing all this gerrymandering. That's why they're doing all this voter ID stuff. They want low turnout. High turnout doesn't win them elections. They don't have a voting majority. They want Democrats to stay home, and they want unaffiliateds to stay home. That's what they want, because they know that unaffiliateds are maybe not voting their way, but they're fickle regardless. Like, independents and unaffiliated voters are very fickle. You can't calculate what they're going to do every election cycle. That's how Trump won in 2016. And that's how Trump won in 2024. You cannot calculate out exactly what they're going to do at any given point. And Trump is proof of that. He made red districts redder. He brought out voters who never voted before, or at least vote rarely in presidential elections. But when it comes to the last year and a half of voting data, the turnouts have been higher. And that's what's sinking Republicans in some of these special elections. I don't think that special elections really go one way or the other, especially in Republican majority districts. I think that their policies are seen as unfavorable to the American people, so that they are losing when it comes to the policies, or being associated with Trump, or being associated with the administration, or voting for certain things. And like, this isn't just to bash Republicans wholesale. They're still winning. But they aren't winning by the margins that they should be winning historically. And this is not just one special election. This is like 10 or 12 special elections over the last year and a half. And statewide elections too, like in Virginia or New Jersey. The Republicans thought they had a good shot in New Jersey. And in 2025, they did not. So this is a trend. I'm not talking about like one or two things. This is a trend that's happening. And Republicans are panicking with these redistricting efforts. They're panicking in the House because they know they're not retaining the House. And they're starting to panic in the Senate because Democrats are being competitive in red Senate states. Democrats are becoming competitive there. And so they're having to fight electoral war on more fronts than they thought they were going to have to fight on. And yeah, the Senate map doesn't favor them in the midterms. There's more Republicans up for re-election than Democrats. But they thought that they had more safe Republicans in the Senate than they actually do. And I'm not saying that the Senate is necessarily going to flip to the Democratic side, but there's a better case for it now than there was, say, a year ago. The Republicans in the House don't have a chance. They don't have a ghost of a chance. Person in chat says, I see where you're coming from. I think we're in agreement on your point about how Republicans rely on low voter turnout. And that lines up with my statement on how Republicans use base, or the Republican base is largely low propensity. And that could be true. I think, at least what I've experienced in maybe elections that I've been a part of or run for myself, is that Republicans have a higher floor for elections. Generally, Republicans will come out and vote more. But they also have a lower ceiling, because this is broadly speaking, but from what I experience, Republican voters are creatures of habit. So if they're going to vote, they're going to vote. And it will take something like a Donald Trump to come out and get Republicans who don't normally vote, to come out and vote. Like, it'll take something very special, maybe a signature issue, like Roe v. Wade or gun rights or something like that, to actually drive them out to vote on a specific policy, because many of them are single issue voters. What I believe the line is that Democrats fall in love and Republicans fall in line. Democrats have a lower ceiling, or Democrats have a higher ceiling but a lower floor. You really have to motivate Democrats to come out and vote regularly. And that is especially true for Democrats who aren't a part of the party. Like, let's say people who are mildly progressive that aren't a part of the Democratic Party, they're unaffiliated. It takes a lot more to get them to the polls than it would to get a conservative unaffiliated voter to the polls, because conservative voters are creatures of habit. They will come out and vote, and they'll stand by their party more, and they'll stand by their elected officials a bit more. Democrats, when it comes to coming out to vote, tend to care more about specific but broad policies. They want to know your entire agenda. They want to know your entire platform, or they will only come out and vote if they think that you're someone worth putting their vote behind. And this is, once again, this is only my experience from elections that I've been a part of at the state and local level. But there have been many times where I have either worked for candidates or been a candidate myself, where a good Democratic platform, a good progressive platform, and Democrats will be like, what's the point? I have never heard of a Republican voter coming out and saying, what's the point? A Republican voter will come out and vote, regardless of whether or not they think that that vote is going towards anything, or whether that vote is going to be purposeful. So that's, I once again, I think we largely agree. And that's just my perspective on electoral politics. So yeah. But a good discussion to have nonetheless. And I think that if the tables were turned on this, right, and the Democrats were the party that felt like they were in some sort of desperation to not lose so badly or to possibly win, I think that the Democrats would be doing more desperate things as well. I don't know if it would be gerrymandering specifically, but the Democrats have also been desperate to win. You know, like, this is American politics. They do whatever they want to win, and they do whatever they can. It just so happens that in this time and at this place, the Republican Party is desperate not to lose power, and they're in a place where they know, and congressmen and senators have said it, they know that they're fighting an uphill battle here, and they're going to take every shortcut they possibly can, because it's politics. It's what happens. That's what's going to go on. Why are Democrats so shy of voting? Because, like I said, the old phrase is that, you know, Democrats fall in love. They really need to love the candidate or the platform or the party for them to really get geared out to vote. To motivating Democrats to vote, especially at a state and local level, is hard. It just is. The infrastructure is there. The money is usually there. It's just getting people to come out and vote that's difficult. And they feel like, you know, if you're not working for them, then why even waste the vote? I've been told that as a candidate. I'm knocking on doors. Why are you even here? Like, what's the point? And these are campaigns that I've run in towns that are majority Republican, or even like 50-50. I've been told by voters, what are you even doing here in a close election? And Democrats are like, why are you even trying in a close election? And in an election where, you know, I maybe lost by a few points, it was winnable, but motivating them to come out. Like I'm not the world's most charismatic guy. I think I have good ideas. I think I can put out a good platform, but I'm not Barack Obama, and I'm certainly not a cult leader like Donald Trump. But Democratic voters really have to like everything about you to get behind you. Yeah, Progress Only says that I was told as a city commissioner candidate directly, why would you ever want to run? And that was my voters telling me that. Why would you ever want to? So how will the Dems blow it? That I don't know. Anything. Democrats are great at blowing elections. They're fantastic at ruining shit. I'm sure there's going to be some dumb thing that they're going to get up on that is going to just ruin it for everyone. Every attempt from a third party gets crushed. The most recent example was the legal campaign by the DNC against RFK's recent attempt to form an independent party. Both parties hate independent parties, the DNC and the RNC. I think the most successful was Ralph Nader back in the 90s. And he just played spoiler for President Bush. Our two-party system is disgusting. It is reprehensible. My honest opinion is that neither party really represents the American people. They just represent their own interests, which are usually corporate interests. But the amount of money that flows into both political parties is gross. And it's not good. We do need a multi-party system. A multi-party system. So that way people can feel represented by their party. Like they have over in the UK or Canada or any of the European countries that does like a mixed member proportional system. Something where political parties can sort of thrive and you can have more people like, let's say, a Bernie Sanders out there, not representing Democrats, but representing progressives or social democrats, or on the Republican side, maybe, you have conservatives and moderates and everyone can have their own sort of, let's say like 4 or 5 parties. And that way people can feel better represented and everyone doesn't have to move to the right. Well, Elon Musk is not a serious person. I laughed at that too, but Andrew Yang, the same thing. He tried to form the Forward Party and he got laughed off. But once again, Andrew Yang, I don't think was ever a serious person. Some of his ideas have merit, but they aren't framed in a good way. I think he's an imperfect messenger for what he wants to do. But you will get like tag-alongs for that kind of stuff. You'll get people trying to glob on to that. All right. Great discussion with the chat. I have to move on to what Viper Scott paid for, which is the Viper Scott Civics Corner. Oh, and I've promised books. I've been looking through them. I don't know if I have any like Viper Scott. I think you asked the question, how old is the person you're trying to get to read these books about civics? Because that greatly depends on what books I would recommend. But let's go to, let's see. So we went through all the constitutional amendments. So I think we want to go through the articles of the Constitution, right? The Constitution. Read the full text. Here we go. Let me make this bigger. Modern studies. Okay. I think I might have something. What age group? Like, are we talking primary school, secondary school? So, Article 1, the Congress All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a House and a Senate. The House of Representatives shall be comprised of members chosen every 2 years by the people of the several states. We'll rename that to the 50 states at this point. And the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained the age of 25. So the youngest you can be to be a House member is 25, and have been 7 years a citizen of the United States. So if you are naturalized as a citizen, you have to wait 7 years before you can run for the House. And who shall not, when elected, be the inhabitant of that state in which, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which shall be chosen. Oh, I see. You can't live outside the United States and be a House member. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons, including those. Oh, this is the 3/5 compromise that is gone now, but it says here that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, and the 14th Amendment provided that representation will be determined among the whole number of persons in each state, not by the 3/5 of slaves. So the original Constitution added in the 3/5 provision, which is also known as the Connecticut Compromise. Woo, Connecticut. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years in such a manner as they shall by law direct. So this is the census. Every 10 years, we're supposed to have a census so we can figure out who represents who in all the districts. High school. Okay. I got some books then. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000. Boy, we stopped doing that right away. I don't remember the last time one representative represented 30,000 people, but let's do, who wants to do the math on that? If one representative represented 30,000 people and we had a population of 340 million, how many representatives should there be in Congress? Until such enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3. Oh, and this is the initial representatives. So initially, New Hampshire got 3, Massachusetts got 8, Rhode Island and Providence both got 1, Connecticut got 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, and so forth and so on. When vacancies in the House of Representatives from any state, the executive authority hereof shall issue writs of election to fill each vacancies, meaning that the governors of each state get to choose how they reelect for vacancies. Yeah, it's around 3,000. Over 11,000. Hold on, let me do the math here. Bring up the old calculator. The old calculator. Okay, so 340 million divided by 30,000. Yeah, it's 11,333. That's how many we should have according to the original intent of the Constitution. Of course. Thanks, Tons of Mice. Of course.
No, the lie detector determined that was a lie.
Let's see. The House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and officers, and they shall have the sole power of impeachment. So Article 1 gives the House of Representatives the power of impeachment over executive members and the Supreme Court. The 17th Amendment provided for, So the Senate, originally, the Senate of the United States shall be comprised of 2 senators from each state chosen by the legislature hereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The 17th Amendment provided for direct election of senators. Before the 17th Amendment, the state legislatures or governors or whatever chose their senators for their states. They were not directly elected. Tenzamai says, I thought the Connecticut Compromise was a limit on how many C's you could have in your state's name. That's rough. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election, they shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators in the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year. Oh, this is starting the... So the way that we do re-election of senators is they serve 6-year terms, but they're all staggered out. So a third of the Senate is re-elected every 2 years, and this is starting that re-election process. So, you know, the first class shall be vacated after 2 years, the second after the 4th year, and then third class at the end of the actual 6-year term. So that 1/3 may be chosen every second. If vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature in any state, the executive hereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature shall be finished, which shall then fill such vacancies. My brain is tired. But this was changed by the 17th Amendment. No person shall be a senator who has not attained the age of 30. So 25 for House members, 30 for senators. And they must be living in the state in which they're elected. The Vice President of the United States shall be the President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they are equally divided. So this is the clause in the Constitution that allows the Vice President to be a tiebreaker if the Senate's ever 50-50. The Senate shall choose their own officers, also a president pro temp, because they knew the vice president wouldn't do his fucking job. Ever. No vice president has ever, like, presided over the Senate as the president for, like, a whole session. They're like, oh, yeah, we need a president pro temp. Just in case the vice president isn't there doing his fucking job. Because he doesn't have one. He's just the vice president. What is he going to do? But in the absence of the vice president, or when he shall exercise the office of the president of the United States, the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. So the way it works for impeachment is impeachments start in the House of Representatives. The House is supposed to build a case, and they're supposed to vote on an impeachment. And when they vote, they pass it on to the Senate. If the vote is successful for impeachment, they pass it on to the Senate, where the Senate then has like a court case, like happened to Trump twice. And the Chief Justice is the person who presides over the trial, as like the judge. We'll go to the end of this section, and then there's a lot of sections in this one, so we might break it up. So, impeachments. Yes. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than the removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy the office of honor, trust, and profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, and judgment and punishment according to the law. So the last part of Section 3 of Article 1, YouTube and Twitch. We also have a Twitch platform, but all of our clips and whatnot go up on the YouTubes. So according to Section 3 of Article 1, impeachment starts in the House, moves to the Senate. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is the judge, and impeachment can't go any further than the removal of office and the disqualification from holding further office. But the law can pursue whoever it is past that point. So that is... Oh, Mikey made a banner before, didn't he? There we go. Viper Scott's Civics Corner for today. And I'll clip this out and I'll put it as its own thing. Let's see. Well, I made it 2.5 hours without Mikey. That's pretty good. I have to recommend some books, right? So for high school reading for like civics, for American civics, I would suggest Democracy in America by Alex de Tocqueville. That's like cornerstone American civics philosophy. It's a lot about New England politics and how New England does stuff. Yeah, I will clip the civics lessons and put them in their own thing. I have been. But Tocqueville is a great place to learn American civics, especially like early American civics. Let's see what else we got. This is my story graph, by the way. These are all the books that I own. Oh, this is the Age of Surveillance Capitalism book I was talking about earlier. Great read. I've only read about half of it, though. I haven't gone through the whole thing, but if you want to learn about why companies shouldn't be out there fucking dynamic pricing through AI, this is a great way to learn the reasons why.
I am AI too.
Oh, Mikey, you're here. Oh.
You know, okay. First of all, sorry. Second of all, I'm not listening to you anymore.
About what?
If I want to stay up all night before I do the show, I'm just gonna do that. Because if it's 9:30, I'm not taking a nap anymore. Okay? Because she's crazy, and then I'm crazy. And then the show's in like 2 hours. I'm just staying up those 2 hours, Tim. I blink, it's 1:30, and the kid's stealing my phone and putting blocks all over it. So can't have an alarm clock when your fucking kid steals your phone.
I guess not. I thought the allergies have killed you.
No, it's been raining, so I've been hiding.
Oh.
I can breathe like a grown-up without a scuba mask. Hi, everyone. Sorry.
This is another good read for the philosophy behind democracy and civics in general, The Good State. That's another good read. I'm trying to give Viper Scott some reading recommendations for civics for Viper Scott's high school child.
Watch Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, I got Machiavelli on here, but that's more political philosophy than anything.
Schoolhouse Rock. Schoolhouse Rock is on Disney, I think. One of the streaming things.
This book I will always recommend. It's not only political science, but it's also sociology. Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. It's about American civics, and it's about the collapse of American civics. Yeah, I'll put the books in the chat. Let's see. Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. Yeah, Mikey's gone. He left. But this is a good one. Robert Putnam is a sociologist, and he studied American communities and the decline of American civics and community organizing since like the 80s. And I think it was first published in 2000, but he's put out newer editions with more information that include like social media and whatnot. If you want to learn like comparative politics, I mean, this is a comparative politics textbook.
Zero was trapped with the baby. He was like, you left me in here? I can't get out. I can't jump over the couch.
Oh, well, I mean, you could always have them read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. That's more political philosophy than anything, though. Mikey, how many times have you read the Communist Manifesto?
Never. Don't need to.
Yeah. Why not?
It's innate.
Oh, this is about dark money in UK politics. Trying to see if I have any other like civics minded books. Oh, I guess this is the last one. Common Sense and Other Writings by Thomas Paine. That's a pretty good like foundational American civics book. Yeah.
So what'd you
Most of
cover
the-
today?
We covered all the videos that are in the playlist.
I don't think I added anything, to be honest.
You did. You added one about someone trying to like car bomb their gym, the gym they used to work at.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I keep telling you guys, the crazier and sketchier things get, the more unhinged people are going to become, the more unraveled the populace will become, and these incidents will become commonplace as the paranoia grows inside DC.
We also watched the video about the Pittsburgh teen who learned about a mass shooting plot over a
And
video game
snitched.
chat. Yeah.
On Discord. Good for them.
Oh, we also watched a plane hit a bakery
Top
truck
in Jersey.
Yeah. And I was telling the chat, I've driven on that stretch of I-95 and I've taken off on a plane and landed on a plane in Newark. And listen, even when the planes aren't that low, they're pretty fucking low when they're landing on that runway.
And there's one like that in the islands. Where like, everyone's sitting on the beach and the plane is literally like knocking over umbrellas. It's so close. Oh my God. Just swim somewhere else. This hardly seems worth it.
We talked a whole bunch about the redistricting efforts happening in the southern states now.
Yeah, I'll reveal where I talked about it, but I talked about that a little bit last night on another channel. I will reveal later. I have a roll a rollout for it, so I don't know how to do it yet, but I was speaking about that the other night, and I've heard a lot of people older than me's opinion. Man, and these are military people. I'm like, you guys do not understand politics the way you think you do. Like, you understand politics in the way that the charts and graphs from Fox News and CNN and MS Now describe politics, but that's not real life. In real life, you can get away with a lot less and a lot little. You don't have to have all the things that they're asking for. And that's what, and I hope everybody like in the States and abroad too, even if it looks dark, just remember that the people who are doing all the dark shit, I mean, it's going to be in November, it's going to be like what, $7-8 gas?
Yeah.
What Republican is winning with $7 and $8 gas when the Democrat has to just stand there and be like, he did it.
Right.
Him and his party did it, and he wants to actually make it worse. Okay. Well, yeah, fuck that guy. I'll vote for you. This is easy. This is easier than fucking Joe Biden and Harris's fucking race. This is easier than that.
Yeah. And I gave a rather lengthy explanation because someone in the chat wanted one about why the Republicans are doing this and their desperation and the fact that they don't want to lose this election by as much as they're going to lose it by. So they're doing everything they can.
This last move with the redistricting, that is the last gasp. Other than, putting the army in ice at all the polls. Like, first of all, motherfucker, we live here. We ain't scared of you. He's the same motherfuckers who want to grab the elote man and grab abuelita, and then they completely skip the south side, completely skip the west side. It's like, okay, all right, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody scared of you. You don't even want to go to where the people are. You want to snatch people at their fucking court hearing.
Oh, Viper Scott, one more recommendation for American Civics. It's going to sound silly, but it's actually pretty good for like an outside perspective. America the Book by Jon Stewart and The Daily Show. It's written in the format of a textbook on American civics, and it does a pretty good job of teaching it, but it's also full of jokes.
We should do one of those.
It would be hilarious. Yeah, they were saying earlier in the chat that the UK, the average price of gas is between $8 and $10 per gallon.
Right.
So
we ain't used to that shit. We're used to like $2.89.
Yeah.
That is
And
what we're used to. So
I was saying
pissed.
I was saying if that ever occurred in America, there'd be fucking riots in the streets.
When there starts to get, remember in the 80s, there used to be lines at the gas station.
Yeah.
And there was rationing. You could only get like 10 gallons. And they're like, you know what? No more V8s. You motherfuckers ain't gonna have internal combustion once this shit is done. Y'all gonna be like homeboy with the Rivian.
Oh yeah, that guy gave out a secret, man. Now everyone's gonna be doing that shit.
Man, I'm about to go find me a Smart for 2. Put a couple electric motors in there. I got an apartment, so I got a smaller panel. I'm gonna run an extension cord from the porch. Fuck paying for gas if I could. And this is the shit that like, and it's so crazy. I think it was in the same Chris Hayes thing where he's like, yeah, these BYD cars are so good. I was like, that's the motherfucker I wanted. And Biden blocked that shit. Biden blocked that. That shit was 16 grand off the showroom floor. 0 miles. Fully electric. We were gonna pay the $1,200 to get the guy out here to put the breaker box in the house and everything. 16 grand. We can afford that.
Yeah,
we can afford that.
Yeah.
Man, the cheapest American car is like $38,000. It's like, damn, I guess we just buy a donkey.
Yeah,
like, I don't know what we're supposed to do.
I bought like almost the basic model of a Subaru Crosstrek, and it's costing me like $30,000.
They don't have no affordable cars no more. You want a used car? Oh, well, look, I got a deal for you, man. I got this 2000, $8,000. It's like, what? That car's 26 years old.
Breaking news. Tennessee's Republican-dominated legislature passed redistricting maps on Thursday, eliminating the state's one Democratic black majority congressional district.
And for everybody who's like, oh, the Republicans aren't racist. Trump just says dumb shit. No, these motherfuckers are racist. As soon as they got an opportunity to oppress black people, that is exactly what they did.
They jumped on it too.
I'm talking about as if this wasn't written in Project 2025. And then y'all kept looking at me like I was fucking crazy. I say, no, there's a lot of racist people out there. No, you can't just accuse. Remember how many times I've been accused of being racist on here? People are constantly calling me the racist because I can count and I can use my eyeballs and remember. I remember.
Mikey remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. And Latinos. Now y'all want to be friends. Okay. We'll be friends. We'll be friends. We'll get rid of them. And then don't lose my number. Lose it. Just don't call no more. Because y'all wanted to pretend to be white in Texas. Y'all wanted to pretend to be white. And then he started grabbing anybody who was brown. And then the Supreme Court was like, yeah, that's cool. Grab the brown ones. And they was like, oh man, they turned on us. Oh, you don't motherfucking say. You don't motherfucker. I told you they was gonna do that shit. They always do this. If you are new to politics, go back like 4 or 5 elections. And just kind of like, get the synopsis. If you couldn't tell from the last 4 or 5 elections that they was coming for your ass next and that he was lying, look what he did to the Muslims.
Right.
He went straight to Dearborn. Said, "Oh, give me your list. I want a list of your top 5 things, and I'm gonna take care of them, and no one's gonna stop me." And then he fucking immediately bombed the shit out of Gaza as soon as he won. It's like, why did you fall for that? He's never told the truth.
Right. And
On
someone in the chat, forgot who they were, but they were talking about, well, if we did the election according to the 2024 data, the Republicans would get a bigger majority. I was like, well, it's 2026. 2024 was 2 years ago, and the coalitions have changed. You're not going to get the same vote from blue collar workers. You're not going to get the same vote from Latino worker voters, and you're not going to get the same vote from African American voters.
Especially now, since you don't try to wipe us off the map. Like, this is like, I'm telling, like, this is what, like, this is the difference. Zero, like, this is like, words have meanings. So there are bigots, there are racists, there are people like me who are prejudiced. I have no problem admitting that I am prejudiced about some things. Some people have other problems. I don't have some sort of superiority complex where I just yell at little dogs. There's a landscaper in the backyard, and he's like, I'm gonna get him out of here. He's cleaning up garbage that blew in from the wind that's in the bush, and he's trying to fetch all the shit that's in the bushes.
That's okay. I was out there weed whacking the lawn earlier, and Apollo was inside barking at me.
Yeah, hurry up. I mean, stop. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, don't do that without me. Maybe. But it's gonna get painfully obvious for a lot of people that, I won't say all Republicans, but this class of Republicans, this MAGA Congress, they could have stopped Gaza. Yeah. They could have stopped. They could have really got some meat on the off the bone when it comes to the Epstein files. They're completely objecting their duty.
Yeah.
So why would they be loyal to you when they literally have worked 90 days since last year? You know what I mean? Like, they're not in it for you. It's been very obvious. They don't give a shit. They haven't pushed forward one fucking thing that helps you. And the big beautiful bill, it's just, that's them literally putting in writing, we're gonna take all your shit, okay?
Yeah. It's, hey, you remember those tax breaks that we were doing? Yeah, they're permanent now. And boy, we're not going to cut spending at all.
Oh, we will cut spending on the VA.
Right.
We cut a bunch of federal workers. We just, unblackened the bureaucracy.
Right. And at the same time, oh, by the way, we need an extra $1 trillion for the military, or we need an extra $100 billion for DHS and ICE enforcement. They took all the money from all the programs that people need, and they shoved it all plus extra into the military industrial complex.
And ICE.
And ICE.
The domestic military complex.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the military industrial complex, so when we watched the video, I think it was the Pittsburgh teen who foiled the gun plot.
Mm-hmm.
Someone, I think it was Chrissy, asked, why do the police have an armored vehicle? Because in the video, they're driving around in like a fucking MRAP.
Yeah. SWAT teams all have MRAPs now. For the roadside bombs in the West Side.
Like, why do you need an APV to fucking drive around Pittsburgh?
You never know, man. These hoods filled with IEDs. Zero. Me and you are gonna fight very soon.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
is working.
I was incorrect. It was Portland. It was Portland. It was the guy who tried to bomb his gym. But they were at his house. The guy was already like not around anymore, and they just went to his house with a fucking APV and a bunch of guys dressed up like they're soldiers.
Did you know that a almost 1 million acre wildfire has been burning in Nebraska for about a month?
I did not.
Yep, that's happening. And it's okay. We weren't going to eat any of that stuff that's on fire. It was the grass for the cows. There's a drought, so there's not a lot of grass, and then the grass is dry, so then it caught on fire. So now there's definitely no grass, and our U.S. cattle herd is about the size of the cattle herd we had back in the 1950s. So between screwworm and drought, yeah, that's why beef is so expensive. But never fear, we're gonna pay Argentina up front for all this shit. Don't make them compete.
No, it's starting to get bad out there because all the CEOs for the fast food places are like, our costs are too high and people aren't showing up anymore. Like, I was seeing earlier that the McDonald's CEO that said that they're going to see customer spending get worse.
Oh yeah,
because they're not going to be able to spend money on food anymore. And what was the other CEO? Shake Shack said that their operating costs are too high because of food cost. And people aren't buying as much as they used to. And I'm pretty sure Burger King and Wendy's and all these other fucking places are going to start saying the same thing. And that's how you know a recession's coming. It's when all the fast food people start saying, well, people aren't spending money at our places anymore. That's when you know that shit's hitting the fan.
And savings is being drained.
Yeah. And we talked about earlier in the show, we talked about insurance premiums skyrocketing 58% for health insurance.
Oh yeah, see, and another thing people are not. I hope the Democrats, of which I do not belong, I hope they capitalize on the fact that all of the fucking health subsidies are going to be gone right after that election.
Yeah,
because they put that timer on there so that they could keep the healthcare subsidies until the midterms,
right?
And then they're going to expire immediately after the midterms.
We talked about the fuel prices. I mean, the fuel prices today kind of yo-yoed because Trump was doing that the Freedom Convoy, Project Freedom, to have U.S. ships.
Oh, that's already over. Yeah, that was over.
No,
that
it
was over
over
before everybody could even do an article about it.
And Saudi Arabia was like, no, you're not. If you do that, you can't use our airspace, is what they said. And then Trump immediately tacoed.
And this is his plan. This is what the powers that be, the Peter Thiels and the Miriam Adelsons, they want to destabilize this country. They don't want us to be competent, moral actors trying to embetter this country and the rest of the world. They don't want that. Why the fuck would they want that? No, they want everything crazy, out of control, and then we're gonna mimic Israel as close as we can. I was watching a story last night. I don't think it was Drop Site. No, it wasn't Drop Site. It was some smaller channel. I can't remember which one. But Ethan Klein, who's like the #1 Hassan Piker hater, there's clips of him vlogging going out in Israel, and he's like, "This place sucks. This place sucks. I hate everything here. This place sucks. It's dirty. If this is so holy, why is everyone taking a dump in the middle of the street? This is Tel Aviv." I'm like, oh, interesting.
Apparently, in the last hour, the Saudis have agreed to let the U.S. military use their bases to launch Operation Freedom. So what did the Saudis get from Trump?
Well, I hope it was worth it, because something in Saudi Arabia is going to get blown up. But the whole region, the whole region's been destabilized by our actions. This is what Israel wanted. We did it. Okay, now what? Okay. Ask Israel to help you get the Strait open. They said, "Oh, that's not our business. We have a pipeline. That's not our business." Oh,
right.
Well, good job. They're happy. And and I'm not sure how Netanyahu's going to weather the storm over there. It's not going his way.
Yeah, especially when the Republicans in Congress are no longer the majority and they can't defend him.
Good luck. People are stupid, but they know what money is.
Hey, they sent Marco Rubio to meet the Pope instead of JD Vance.
The Pope lives on.
They're probably like, let's not send JD. Last time we sent him to meet the Pope, it wasn't a good idea.
I mean, yeah, it was an old Pope, but still.
I'm just saying, JD met the guy, and then the next day, he wasn't around anymore.
Next thing you know, the motherfucker was dead. But Scotland, keep your doors open. You might have some you might have some fresh recruits. Shout out to Canada, who's like lowering all of their standards for immigration.
Yeah.
So they can headhunt the sexiest and best talent from the States. I'm just gonna send a picture of me with my shirt off. That should get me in. That should get me in.
Viper Scott is asking, did you see the damage to U.S. bases, satellite images the U.S. government tried to block?
Yes. Brother, they have devastated several bases. And it's weird that instead of, having anti-air missile batteries at the base, they said, just leave the base and go stay in this hotel we put you in. We're going to move you guys all to a hotel. Number one, we do not have money to be rebuilding bases that we already built the first time. It would be nice if someone could just, protect the one we already built. But instead, you took them off of their base and put them around civilians so that if they get attacked, they kill civilians. Like, no one wants, if I'm in a hotel out somewhere, if I'm out on vacation internationally, and then a bunch of fucking U.S. troops show up, I'm like, no, out. I don't want to be around here. I don't want to be around y'all. Y'all are constantly getting shot at. I need you to go stay on your military base away from me. Is that guy still up on top of that arch on that bridge?
I don't know.
Untangles Hormuz negotiation. Yeah, I don't know what these new negotiations are, but they're not giving up their nuclear stuff. Not in the way that he's saying it.
No.
They already offered to store it in another country. So either they're probably going to have to just take that. They'll probably, if they don't, what the hell? All right, buddy, you are getting a little close to the door. Zero's right. Get out of here. Bark at him, Zero. Get him out of here.
Oh, we talked about, so we had a fun conversation about Kash Patel's branded whiskey. Apparently, he's been buying custom whiskey bottles and giving them out to people. You muted.
But then goddamn, dude, ruining all my joke timing. He's not reusing bottles that he emptied. That's not what it is. So don't say that. So don't say that he's just trying to sell all the empty bottles that he's got in his office. And he's just got to find a way to get rid of them.
Well, apparently he is selling them and giving them out to people who he meets. And also they're available on eBay for about $65. And the cost of making them is about $100.
So he's selling them at a loss of $35 per.
He's devaluing the whiskey by simply being his name being there. And then there was a discussion about whether Scotch whiskey or Irish whiskey was better. And I said, I will blind taste test. I'm going to record myself doing a blind taste test of both, and I will report the results.
I'm not getting in that fight.
Well, originally I said they were both good. That I have Scotch whiskey and I have Irish whiskey, and I like them both. But people want to know. The people want to know, Mikey.
Can you miss? It all does the job.
Right. Exactly.
It all does the job. But I don't know. Why the ICC is the world's biggest joke. I love real life lore. Zero, you're making my life unpleasant. Unpleasant. He's raking wood chips. What do you want me to do about it? Okay.
Make him go away.
He's not done raking the wood chips. Yeah, make him into a pile or something. I don't know. Even coverage.
There was a California governor's debate.
Oh yeah, I did want to check that out. Maybe I'll find some clips for that for tonight. I saw Dave Chappelle went on Michelle Obama's show.
Those are two people that I would not expect to be together.
Yeah, especially since Dave. Well, I think Dave's on his like apology Kanye shit because he. Anyway, he did his little right wing shift and brought Elon on stage, and then he was like genuinely confused why everybody was so upset with him. It's like, dude, yeah, stop hanging out with millionaires and billionaires all the fucking time on your private farm, on your private land in rural Ohio. Uh-oh.
The mayor perhaps sensing an opportunity as lawmakers seek a difficult compromise on a property tax formula, but some say his efforts are a distraction that could drive the Bears to Indiana.
Mayor Brandon Johnson in Springfield, while lobbying on a range of issues, making another push to keep the Bears from.
Pause right there. No, go back. I just want to see that stadium so I can explain
range of
something.
issues, making another.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so there you guys see on the left is Lakeshore Drive or 55 because I-55 dumps into Lakeshore Drive, and then you get to drive, north through the city, and then there you got Soldier Field on the right there, that big old beautiful bowl. Well, that does not belong to the Chicago Bears. That belongs to the city of Chicago. So concerts and all kinds of random events can take place at Soldier Field. Getting down there, you see those 4 lanes right there? There are 50 to 60,000 people at a fucking Bears game. And you got 4 lanes of highway to get everybody in there and everybody out of there. It is a nightmare. I hate going anywhere near downtown if there's a Bears game.
Yeah.
Bulls game, it's a 1 block by 1 block building. There's parking spots. Only so many people can fit. You can only get so busy. The Bears, you got the tailgaters, you got people dropping off, you got all the it shuts down over there. But it is very and it's also 1,000 degrees below zero. Because a lot of football is played in the fall and winter, and it is you have to fucking play football. The lake is right there. You can see the reflection in the water back there. You guys ever heard of motherfucking lake effect snow?
Yeah, why do they have an open air stadium right next to a fucking lake in the winter?
You better dome that bitch up. Ain't nobody finna be fucking. But people, it doesn't matter about the weather. The colder it is, the more the tickets sell out because these people are fucking insane.
It's just like the fucking Buffalo Bills, man. Those people are freaks.
Out there in a 1.5 feet of snow that started since halftime, just out there with their shirt off screaming. I don't get it.
Yeah. That's why they're called the Bills Mafia, man. They're out there shoveling their own seats.
Yeah, you got to shovel your seat before you plop down.
Those people are fucking crazy.
I don't like sports that much. I like being warm way too much to ever go to Soldier Field in like fucking October.
You would never see me at fucking Giants Stadium or Gillette Stadium in October, November, December. It's too cold for that shit. And they're open air stadiums.
They're just sitting there with like, some mittens on, like, woo, clapping it up. I'm like, bro, that was $1,000. It's freezing out here. And now, what are you gonna go pee? You ain't been wearing gloves this whole time. You're gonna go pee? Huh? You're gonna go pee right now with your hands all Lego brick charactered up and you can't even fucking good luck.
Another push to keep the Bears from leaving Chicago.
Right now, the bill that has been sent over to the Senate,
win
there's
anything.
some real serious issues.
What's your take on Mayor Johnson?
I like Mayor Johnson. I think he's fantastic. I think he gets a lot of shit. And I think it's very obvious. He looks very black. He doesn't have no passable tolerant. He's got dark skin Negro features, and he has a very deep, resolute voice. People don't like his ass. Good. Don't like him, but he's helping the city. Get used to it.
Are the museums still nice in Chicago? And also, who would watch a Giants or a Jets game willingly anyway? So true.
Two very good questions. The museums are very nice, and I would much rather go to like the Field Museum, go see that big ass, I think it's been in a lot of movies, but like the fucking almost completely intact T-Rex skeleton they have. I would much rather go look at the T-Rex bones than fucking sit in a blizzard so we could lose another game by fucking 3 points. Like, god damn. Feel so bad for those people. They just freeze for 3 hours and then they lose by 3 points. It's like that was a waste. You could have just lost right away.
I mean, that's how the Cowboys play it too. They wait until the fourth quarter and then like, oh yeah, we're gonna lose now.
All right, let's give the other team the ball.
Just lose at the beginning and then I don't have to watch the whole game.
Bill that has been sent over to the Senate, there are some real serious issues.
The mayor referring to the mega projects bill, which would allow large developers, including the Bears, to make lower payments to local.
Oh, is that the thing they want to build? Look at that fucking monstrosity.
And they always want to do like, I don't know, a moon base as a fucking stadium. They always want to like up the ante and then, it's gonna have a retractable dome and just build a dome, dude. It's fucking cold here. We don't want fresh air. We want conditioned hot air. Zero! Shut your ass up. Fuck. He's still doing shit outside. He's not done. Just wait. Smart ass.
He's like, I will not.
You wait.
Get
Shut
that
up.
man to go away.
He's leaf blowing. You want him to spray you with some leaves? He would love that, actually. He loves it. But anyway, scroll on because I don't want a fucking
Taxing
space
bodies
base.
in lieu of property taxes. Mayor Johnson was asked if he's called on senators to scrap the measure, which would pave the way for a Bears Arlington Heights move.
This is not about the Senate being asked to scrap. We already know the governor doesn't like the bill. The Bears do not like the bill.
This as senators try to thread the needle on a property tax formula that's both fair for homeowners and acceptable to the Bears. But with the team stating publicly their choices between Arlington Heights and Hammond, Indiana, some say the clock has already run out on Chicago.
Don't give those fucking NFL teams any fucking tax abatements.
No, and we don't want to. So like we're gonna threaten you. We're gonna leave. Bitch, go.
Then go.
Go. Ain't nobody. Go ahead and go to Indiana and see what your fucking fans say. As much money as y'all make off of fucking jerseys and tickets, you haven't fucking won anything since the fucking 80s. And you got the nerve to fucking want tax abatements for a fucking losing squad. You don't have no Super Bowl traffic coming into the city. You fucking lose.
And so you said the city owns this stadium.
Yeah, Chicago owns Soldier Field.
So do they like rent it out to the Bears?
There was like a leasing kind of agreement thing.
Do not
like,
let
this
them...
is not a good deal for us. This is becoming less of a good deal. Maybe we'll go to Arlington Heights, which is like 40 miles west, and then 20 miles over the border into Hammond, Indiana.
Right. I am actually more in favor of cities owning the sports stadiums.
Yeah.
Because don't let the fucking Bears own their own fucking stadium and be like, oh, you can have the stadium tax free. Or any team. Do not let them own the stadium and be like, you can have it tax free as long as you provide a few jobs to the people. Because they're just going to take everything. And then when you decide, oh, we're going to tax you again 10 years down the road or whatever, we'll build a new stadium in another state.
Soldier Field was built in 1922 and finished in 1924. It's over a fucking the Bears are one of the first football teams.
Damn.
So that stadium is hella fucking old. If you want to leave because you're not getting as much money as you want and your fucking team sucks, go to Indiana. Everybody will hate you. And that's fine. We'll just call you the fucking Colts or something. The Colts Junior.
Colts Junior.
Chicago.
If we don't have a bill on the table that allows them to commit to Arlington Heights, we've got the Hammond Bears.
The Bears have said they
Bye.
expect to make a decision in late spring or early summer, and this legislative session in Springfield concludes at the end of the month. Sure.
And
Well,
that-
that's why they're waiting.
So think about this. Hammond, Indiana
allows
is
them to commit
probably
to
like
Arlington.
In Heights move.
Hammond, Indiana is probably like an hour from me, maybe like an hour and a half.
Mhm.
The stadium's probably like 45 minutes to an hour. So if I was a Bears fan, you throw in an extra half an hour drive time with because going into another state is easy. You just kind of drive over the border and then you're there.
Yeah.
There's not like a
Yeah.
checkpoint or customs or something like that. But you know what Indiana does love to do? They love to put state troopers on the highway at the border crossings. So if you guys want every Sunday for there to be like 16,000 motherfucking Indiana state troopers sitting on the side of the road waiting to fucking pop your asses for the smallest titsy tacky little thing. Oh, and Indiana is one of those places. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. You cannot have turpentines from THC in your blood.
Oh.
So if you get pulled over by one of these cops for speeding, and then they say, "Oh, let's do some field sobriety tests," and then you decline it, and then they do a blood test, like, "Oh, what's this? He had weed in his blood, even though he smoked 2 nights ago." Oh, well, that's driving while intoxicated, according to the Indiana. According to you can't even have weed in your system in Indiana. Weed is legal in Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois, the states surrounding it.
That's crazy.
It's not gonna. I mean, shut up, dude. If they think that this is gonna work out for them, go for it. Go for it, because you're just gonna make Brandon look even more right. The Bears are mad because Brandon Johnson's not giving them free money again.
Right.
We got
Yeah,
bills to pay. We got
Yeah.
young people who have been left in the lurch. We had to take in all those immigrants from before, and we had to take care of them. That cost a lot of money. So we're hooking it up, and we're gonna need our money back. 0. We are going to fist fight.
Also, the Bears are worth $9 billion. I'm sure they can fucking pay the taxes.
No, we can't. We can't afford the taxes. Yes, the fuck you can.
The 2025 valuation of the Bears was $7 billion.
So stop playing in our face like you don't got no money. You don't even fucking pay for your stadium. You rent it. They're not fixing anything. They rent it.
It's the People's Stadium.
It's it's the city's fucking stadium.
Yeah.
And you want fucking just pay nothing and get everything. Go to Indiana. With they broke asses. Going over there. They ain't got no money over there. Go ahead and try to make some Northern Indiana fans.
Hey, you know what? Bears, you could come to Connecticut.
No.
You could be the Hartford Bears.
Actually, I approve of that over fucking going to Indiana.
You could be the Bridgeport Bears.
Just, hey, why don't you go to fucking Green Bay while you're at it? Or how about Minnesota or any of our other division rivals?
Come to Connecticut. They don't consider us a part of New England anyway.
Go to St. Louis. That'll teach you.
Go to Oakland.
Or what's the other team I want? The Atlanta Hawks. Go ahead and go to St. Louis. Got blown out about 60 points in the playoffs. No, we're going.
Yeah, man.
St. Louis originally had the Monarchs and the Hawks. So Atlanta will be taking our team back now because clearly you don't know what to do with it. And we don't have any teams except for hockey now.
Oh.
They're all gone. Thanks, LA. Pieces of shit. I hate you. Piggy, Indiana.
Come to Arkansas.
Hell no. You know, like they do have people have like the big foam like cheese heads. And then like when the Bears go up there, they have cheese grater hats. Which I thought was very funny. Fuck you, cheeseheads. Fuck you. All right. I think I've gotten most of my ramble out.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
So Tim, let me know what you think about this, and then we can close.
Okay.
When I have, because I get stuck awake at such strange hours.
Oh, you didn't tell us what the show you were on was.
Right, because I didn't tell anyone yet.
Oh.
I'll tell you in a second. I'll tell them later.
Okay. I thought you were like leading into something and then forgot about it.
It's fun. It's very interesting, but yes, in a second I'll tell you.
Okay.
But if you guys are around, I might just start streaming in the middle of the night and like getting some production stuff done. And like doing, because we just in a 2, 3, even a 5-hour show, there's no way to cover everything.
That's true.
And I'm up anyway. But I'm not going to use StreamYard. I'm just going to use OBS. And have the cool layouts, and then probably still continue to play a game or something. Like I used to do. Like I used to. Yeah. Well, let's get out of here for now. I gotta finish putting this house back together.
Yeah, we gotta go. We'll be back. Unboxed with the lads. So join us at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern.
6 hours from now.
6 hours. Before that, like and subscribe. If you are not liked and subscribed, do it right now.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? And become a member. If you don't want to become a member, odds are that Viper Scott will eventually gift you a membership at some point.
Tim, don't say that.
God damn, you're an embarrassment.
Yeah, don't, Mikey.
Patreon.com/The Bin Podcast.
Defending Cankles, McTaco Tits, and owning
And we gotta go.
libs. That's
Jen,
their
Jen, we can't talk right now.
Stupid.
Rudy.
Stupid. Go.
Rudy, we gotta go. We gotta go, Rudy.
Oh yes, for our other show tonight, we will have a total of 4 hosts, maybe 5. Depends.
It depends.
But let's get out of here, Mikey, and we'll remind everyone to don't forget to drink your mead.